Good morning everybody.
Hello, how are you?
Very good indeed, yes. I know we've caught up many times in between, but obviously back here at the studio, or the new studio I should say, very nice. I do love these compact studios, you've got everything around me, it's absolutely brilliant.
It's compact and bijou.
It's a treasure trove of excitement today for you sewers and that out here to see inside here. It's absolutely wonderful.
I still have yet to unpack my stuff, so there's still lots of boxes of my bits, but all the warehousey stuff, that is all unpacked and good to go.
Yes, indeed, so, absolutely. Yeah. But no,
it's all good. It's all good.
Absolutely brilliant.
So Gary, you have been here, there, and everywhere. All the trade shows, you've done them all.
Yeah.
Trade shows, public shows,
basically
every show.
The retail shows obviously are my main thing. Obviously the trade shows as well is something a little bit different on that, which is still brilliant. But obviously the trade shows we don't really get to see you guys at home. But obviously with that, in the retail shows, obviously so many of you come up and say hi, and yes, brought your machines obviously from Natasha and everything else. It's absolutely fantastic.
Every of those shows, you have to take machines to show people.
Absolutely. Yep, obviously we do. Actually, I've narrowed it down to about 15 shows a year at the moment. Okay. So it's not too bad. Obviously, with different shows, the smaller shows, certainly like the Grosvenor shows, which are nice little quilting shows, we generally only have one of each model out. Yeah. But obviously then Festival of Quilts, which is completely the other end, then obviously we have 3 and 4 of different models out. Yeah. So some models are just sat on display. Yep. Some models are actually demonstrated, but obviously, as you know, at an exhibition, we have to look after our machines at an exhibition, so they're cleaned regularly. Obviously needles, I will get to the needles, as we always talk about needles when I'm here. I know, I do have to emphasise that point on there as well.
I quote you regularly on a needle.
Indeed, good.
I do, because you were the man that taught me that snapped is better than bent.
Indeed, yeah, absolutely. Again, no damaging machine. Again, for those people who are new to the channel, hello, if you've not seen me before, I'm Gary from Juki UK. A lot of people see me on other TV programmes.
You get around in the nicest way.
In the nicest way, thank you. But obviously, for years and years, you were my first on TV. Absolutely, you could say that on that. And what's that? 12 years now, something like that, isn't it? It's got to be. Yeah,
it's a good decade.
It is a good decade on that one, isn't it?
Nearly 11 years.
And that's it. And the rest is history. We're still here.
Yeah, we are.
Absolutely, indeed.
And this is the thing. So you do the shows, the machines come out, and then they're used lightly. Some not at all.
And some not at all. Some will display. Yeah.
But they will still they'll be serviced. They'll be packaged up. They'll have a 2-year warranty.
Yeah. Basically, for people at home, any machine that we supply you, if you didn't know it as demonstration and you unpacked it, you'd think it's a brand new machine. Yeah. We basically sell it as new, as you say, full 2-year warranty, complete with all the accessories. Basically, it's not even been run in. So we then obviously, before they obviously released, we check through every single machine. We test every single machine. Obviously, new needles in every single machine on there as well. So no, you are buying it as a brand new machine. So obviously the great thing about it, obviously from an exhibition, unlike obviously when we are on TV programs where we are just talking about one specific model, here I have got a multitude of different models on there. So hopefully it doesn't confuse anybody. I am going to go through a step by step. It's obviously something I've never done before, actually, is because rarely that you get to see the different models actually together on TV. So with the sewing machine side, and we are talking mid-range sewing machines, and obviously with Juki mid-range sewing machines, obviously that high performance and quality, they start at the moment at $895. So obviously that is a lot cheaper than what we would normally start at.
So you've got, because this was it. So I was asked by Hobbycraft to go and do demonstrations with a £350 machine.
Yes.
And I came and I spoke to you before I agreed to it. I came and I spoke to you because I said, you know I am a Juki girl through and through.
Yeah.
But they're starting at around £1,000.
That's right.
And
yes.
for some people that is too much.
Oh, absolutely. So, yeah.
When you're first starting, once you know you love sewing, then you save for it. It took me 5 years to save for my first Juki.
Yeah.
But for those that are thinking, absolutely, I'm at that stage, then this is the only way here. Now, you won't see these on other TV channels.
No, not at all.
They are Lawrence, Big Boss Man, he is so kind because he lets these come to us.
Well, say we worked together all these years. You are the only person, and I say this is not a false sales or anything like that. You are the only person we work together like this. Yeah. Nobody else gets these machines. They were purely at the end of the show season, which we are now. Yeah. Obviously, we do get a little get together. Obviously, we try and come up with some really good bargains. Obviously, for you guys at home as well. Yeah. And it's sort of just that one-off. Because it's one of those things, as we know, obviously, with sales, we're here, obviously it's not, but we like to give information out. Obviously, it's a fun. We want to make the programme fun as well. So if there's any questions, whether it's about my machines, whether it's about sewing projects, between us, we can probably answer it for you, or hopefully we can. We've certainly got it covered. So yeah, anything like that, obviously, please let us know. But then talking to you through the different ranges of machines, you're going to get to see then why and if you need to go to the next one. Obviously, as you say, starting, it's Juki are one of those brands that people aspire to, as such to say.
Oh, so true. Yeah.
Again, it's a lot of people don't realise when they're first starting a big difference between the sewing machine side, but it's like anything out there, whether it's a drill, whether it's a sewing machine, whether that, you've got different qualities and different levels. And even if you're a beginner, I always say, when people come in and they're after their first sewing machine, they say, I'm after a beginner sewing machine. Realistically, there's not anything as a beginner sewing machine. You either can get a basic sewing machine, a cheap budget sewing machine, because that's what we all work with, different budgets on there, or you invest into a performance machine. And I'm not saying you necessarily would use it more to start off with, but as a beginner, to have something that's actually going to look after you more, have something that's actually going to work well with different fabrics, also different threads, because as a beginner you don't necessarily know how to adjust, how to fiddle, so you really want the machine to then look after you.
Yes.
And that's going into the Juki obviously level. You are going to get a machine you can grow into, and then encourage you hopefully to use it more, do different projects, and that way.
So Gemma bought from us, she bought an X Demo NX.
Yes, that's right.
And even her husband has commented that her language has improved now when she sews. And she did exactly the same as me. She had another brand sewing machine and thought she couldn't sew straight, pulled to one side. And we say this a lot. And actually, I've then had people message me and go, "Could you?" Because I won't slag off any other brand.
Oh no, because they all have their obviously user friendly parts on there. Yeah.
But I thought it was me.
Yeah.
I thought it was me, and then I had someone message me. She goes, "Was it this machine? Because I want to sell mine, and I don't want to pass on a machine that's not going to be helpful to other people."
No.
And it's one of those things. Those machines have their places, of course they do, but when you do first, and I was lucky enough that I worked on a channel that had sewing machines of a quality that I could play with, and so it became so obvious to me. The difference.
Yeah, it's just the feel, the sound, if anything. It's just enjoy using it.
Which is why all my machines are Juki. Apart from my 70-year-old singer.
That's it. And obviously that's the one we service, I think it was last time, wasn't it, on there. And that's the sort of thing where, and sort of just touching on that subject, this is the lovely thing about it, where people come to me and say, why don't they make machines like they used to? Well, they do, but not in a budget round. So that's the thing. If you're looking at the that sort of budget area, which is again, I know I'm going to repeat myself about what we invest into, but you can't expect then that type of machine to last forever. But also servicing costs. You need to have them looked after more. You need to have them serviced. With our machines, we can go 10 years without a service.
Find the parts.
Well, but also if you find someone who would then service it, because a lot of time these machines, when they build budget machines, where with ours you've got a metal chassis inside, you've got different panels, you've got different covers on there. With the budget machines, why they can make them so cheap is because it's two halves of machine. They're two pieces of plastic mouldings, and they just screw the parts on the inside. So you've got no chassis as such, and then basically they clamp them together. There you go, there's your sewing machine. So if anything inside that machine comes out of alignment or needs to be taken apart, we physically have to crack the whole machine apart. When I say crack the machine, obviously that's the technical word for it, but there are clips. So as well as the screws in the side, there are clips in there as well. And 9 times out of 10, when you try and get these machines apart, those little clips will break because it's just the nature of what they are. Yeah. So if we do take one apart, And we will basically guarantee at least 40% of those clips will break when they come because of how fragile they are. So we have to give a warning on that. But also, if it is something like removing thread from around a gear or a hook drive, take up lever or something like that, where on this machine we can take off a single panel.
Yeah.
And we can
It's
just
easy.
remove that thread.
It's
This
really
this piece
accessible.
comes off really accessible. So servicing, looking after is no problem. Those machines, labour time alone is going to be 3 times longer, because instead of just unscrewing one panel, we've actually got to take the whole machine
But
apart.
also,
Yeah.
not being funny, I've done a FaceTime call with your guys in the warehouse,
Yeah.
in the workshop rather, and they've talked me through.
Oh, absolutely. This is the great
So
thing
I
about
haven't
it.
even
Yeah.
had to ship it to you, do anything, and that's absolutely perfect. So for those of you that are going, well, how does Garry know so much? You came to sewing machines from the engineering side.
I did, yes. So the age of, well, I started when I was 15.
Tender age.
So
of
tender age of
15.
15. My brother actually worked in the industry, and obviously for the Franklin's group. So born and bred in Colchester. That's where we've been. So it's coming up to 70 years next year. Not me, obviously personally working in the business. So, I will just quickly add that one in. Yeah, cool. I'm looking well for 70 years. So I think I am anyway. I knew I'd get that wrong. So, and then with the family business, and it is the 4th generation. Well, it has just been born now. So obviously with George on that, absolutely beautiful little boy on there, Teo. It's actually a year and a half now. So it's surprising how time goes, but he is now the 4th generation in there.
Yeah.
So it's obviously I love working for the family business. I wouldn't have been there for 37 years if I didn't. But I did say I started as an engineer. I learned the inside before I learned the outside, and obviously it's not just Juki. I deal with literally all manufacturing of machines. I have looked in virtually every single make of machine out there to see the different levels. And again, it's even with certain manufacturers, just because it's got a name on it, even with the same name, they might be built in different factories in different countries. So that will give you different build quality.
And when you go into a sewing machine shop, 9 times out of 10, that person behind the counter doesn't know. They don't know where the parts have been manufactured. And this became very clear through COVID, when replacement parts couldn't be made for other machines, and they would just go with cheap plastic
And they
stuff.
would, exactly.
However, Juki makes their own parts in-house, so those parts are guaranteed to be fabulous quality.
Oh, absolutely. Very much. And also longevity as well. So the DX series, what we have now, is basically been on the market. So about 8 years, 10 years now on the market with this. And a lot of people say, is it going to be discontinued? Are you selling them off? Blah, blah, blah. The answer is no. They take a long time to design and manufacture a sewing machine. But when we get it right, we get it right, and that's why we don't just change the colours, we don't just change the shape of it. There's no need to just to redesign for the sake of redesigning for a bit of advertising. So if you get it right and it works well, why change? And
if it ain't broke,
don't fix it, as they say. And from the Exceed series, which is now 16, 17 years old, that machine to this is basically 90% the same machine interior. Again, that is how good it is. So even when we redesigned it with certain features where we were asked for. And this is a great thing about ourselves being involved in the development process of the machines. We get to speak to the hierarchy, the people with the money, the people with the thought process of actually putting it in the machine. We have meetings regular where we can put all your ideas into the machines as well. So,
and this is where Juki differ. And I've got Ginny here who said, I bought one from your store before COVID. Lovely,
right,
Juki.
wonderful, thank you.
And Barbara says, do your company do terms for buying, and are they low or high shank machines for quilting rulers?
So the answer with the credit finance, I'm not sure what you offer on that one.
So to give you a little bit of background here, Barbara, I was demonstrating on various shopping channels on behalf of Juki because I love them so much. But we don't do 3 payments plans here because we can't afford to do it. And the big channels, some of them have come unstuck doing it in the past, but that's for them to decide what they do. And so Lawrence, we have like a very open policy here. Everybody understands everything that happens. So Lawrence said to me, look, I know that we were losing trade because there were TV companies that were doing payoff in 3.
Yeah,
And
that's
he
it.
said, I want to do something really special for you because I appreciate what you do for us. And so that was when Lawrence came up, the big boss guy, came up with this idea that he would give Natasha Makes these machines at a discount. So no,
Yeah.
we don't do payment terms. If you are paying through PayPal, you might be able to pay in 3 if you've got
Yeah,
that option.
obviously you've got a personal account through PayPal. It's not a problem there at all. Yeah.
Then what you can do, I've known people in the past get a credit card machine and pay it off, a credit card
Yeah.
to then pay off for their machine. So how you finance is up to you.
Yeah.
I've seen people come unstuck in the crafting world from
That side of it. Yeah.
and it didn't sit quite right for me. So I haven't done that here, Barbara. But if you have PayPal and they will split it into 3 or Klarna or anything like that, then that's for you to decide. I will never tell you how to.
No, that's right. Again, your finances are your finance. But what I will add on to that is even through the split payments through obviously TV channels, through various companies, obviously that would all be on a brand new machine. And for instance, obviously we've got the DX2000 at the moment. It's 1,445. That's the X demonstration price. They say brand new, sold as new with 2-year warranty. You go online at the moment, brand new machine, 1,765. So it's
discount, isn't it?
It's over a £300 saving. And the reason we say that, obviously, if we was going to add finance and everything on that, we would have to pay for that. So is it better to offer you the discount with no finance, and if you have to then financially say split payments through credit cards, PayPal, setting up account, it is available. But the savings alone on all of our machines, and obviously I've just got a couple of models, we've got more than what's just here, these prices are going to be absolutely non-repeatable. These are one-off machines, or two-off machines in some of the cases, and when they have gone, they have gone. But when I go for the pricing, you're going to realise how cheap or discounted they are, which hopefully will negotiate. If you do need a finance side, the saving on this alone will really outweigh any interest you would have to pay anyway.
Exactly.
So hopefully that would be an entire sort of an incentive as well to do that. So
quick question from Sue.
Yeah.
She said my class sewing machine, which is just over 2 years old, won't power on. Does Franklin's repair other makes of sewing machines?
we do indeed. Yeah.
There you go. And Jan says, hello, still love my X demo Juki. A Juki is not just for Christmas, it's forever.
Wonderful.
Question, I never wanted to fiddle with the tensions, and since Juki everything just works without problems, but can you give me any ideas about when I would need to adjust a tension?
Of course, yeah. As you say, with any demonstrations, hopefully if you've watched me in the past as well, tension system on all of our machines are basically set in. And one thing we are very pleased of, and as I talk through the machines, we'll go through the sewing system in our machines, and again this is part of our development involvement, it is 100% mechanical. So what I'm saying is machines out there now have gone to sensor systems in the tensions, in the foot pressures, in the feed, so they're trying to do it many things. So you've got computerized systems, you've got sensor systems and all that. Obviously they all take a lot more looking after, and anything like that, if you don't clean them enough, again it can misread what's going on. So one thing we were absolutely adamant on is keeping the sewing system completely mechanical, so therefore it is fully overrideable. So all the sewing I've done so far, I mean I've got to that stage, but throughout the years on demonstrating these, I do not touch the auto system whatsoever. But you can get fringe work where you might want a looser stitching, so you've got then loop stitching. Again, there's fringe feet available for that. Metallic threads, some metallic threads, even though with most of them I don't touch the tensions at all, but sometimes you want to work it then with a bobbin thread, so you can then reduce the top tension slightly, which will help you give you maybe a slightly flatter satin stitch because it pulls the bobbin thread underneath a little bit more on there. Twin needle work. If you're using wide twin needle necessarily on a finer fabric, you might want to relax the tension a little bit so it prevents any ridging, again mainly on like a finer fabric on that one. So yes, the bottom tension is set, you wouldn't touch that at all, but there is an override on there, so we have it where some people like to do bobbin work and things like that, but with all of our machines we actually sell a bobbin work bobbin case. So what I would always recommend, instead of fiddling with your standard bobbin case, you would leave that set for all your normal sewing, and then have a second bobbin case, i.e. for thread work, etc. that way. So then you do swap them out.
Yeah.
That is what I would fully recommend. Other than that, you wouldn't touch the bobbin at all. You would then just balance if you wanted to on the top, for again more for embroidery style work or something like that. Yeah.
I mean, Claire Angelina, case in point, she said, I desperately need your help. My machine is an electronic Janome. It's driving me crazy. The top thread started looping and the underneath. Advice from the sewing community was to tighten the top tension. That worked for a while. It's doing it again with the top tension on 9.
On 9. So to me, you've got straight away, I say you've got thread or fluff caught in the tension system. So when it first started, you had a little bit in there. So therefore, the balance was still working to a certain degree. And then, as long as you've got so when you thread your machine, first of all, we say, which sort of generally will know, but I have seen it time and time again, where you just little lapse of concentration when threading the machine. Make sure you thread the machine with the presser foot up. Again, the reason we do that is so it opens the tension disc, so when you thread the top tension, it naturally goes into the tension disc on there. So if it is down, the tension disc will close and the thread can sit on the outside. I believe that's not the case in your case, is because when you alter the tension you are getting a slight change. So therefore I would say the thread's in the tension disc, but you've got thread or fluff in the tension disc as well, so it's counterbalancing it. And this is where you come to the case in point, is that you would, if you were working on a Juki, then you'd be able to say which case to open to get in. That's it. I can literally remove this side panel, and I can see the tensions in there, and then from there what I would do is get a cleaning brush, a piece of fabric, and then just give it a little polish inside on there, so it can.
Sold silicone brushes for cleaning.
Yeah, that's it. Absolutely ideal. So depending on, I think it was Janome. So depending on what Janome it is, again, Janome do the 2 versions. They do their higher level version, which is more metal chassis built machines, and then they do more of their sort of budget level, which again built in a different way. So, but yes, it's definitely something we can take care of. It's something that should be able to be fixed. But personally, if you're looking at top tensions, even for yourself at the moment, get a cleaning brush. If you can't get into the machine, make sure presser foot's up, unthread the machine, getting in the cleaning brush and literally poke it into the tensions on here, and just give it a sort of brush up and down and see if it does dislodge anything that way, and then re-thread it back up, give it another go, see what happens that way. If you find it hasn't removed anything, it's still giving you the issue, then to me you could have actually the thread then wrapped around something, so it's not a piece of fluff, it's more caught thread in that case.
Perfect, thank you very much. This is it. So these shows with Garry, he is a wealth of knowledge, and it's great to know, because that can happen to anybody.
Oh, absolutely.
Jojo says she bought her ex-demo Juki through Tash. Absolutely love it. Fantastic machine at a great
Wonderful
price. And Michelle says, I love my ex-demo NX7. That's about 5 years old. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it. So do I really need to buy the DX2000 that I so desperately want?
The thing is, the DX2000 is a beautiful machine. Obviously my answer is always going to be yes on that one. And even with people with the NX7, it's a beautiful machine. We do have one of those for sale, X demonstration as well here, which we'll be talking about later as well.
I know a lot of our viewers have an NX and a DX.
Yes.
And they work so well together, because that's the one, the DX is the one you take to workshops.
That's exactly it.
It's lightweight. The other one you do not want to be. It's so heavy.
It is heavy, it's a bulky machine on there.
And it's
so
brilliant.
Absolutely.
But it's one that you put in place and it stays there.
That's it. So what I hear so often where someone has just gone out and bought a budget machine and taken it to the warehouse, to the workshop. So I go to the warehouse, so to the workshop, and they're just disappointed in their sewing days, because why would you take an inferior machine to somewhere that you've paid money to go and do something you want a day to enjoy, and then realise this machine either then doesn't cope with what you want it to do. Obviously you don't enjoy using it because it's nowhere near the quality of your Juki you've got at home on that. So yes, these are a bulky machine to a certain degree, but obviously compared to the NX, these are 9.5 kilograms. Then the NX is 11.5 kilograms.
See, I would say they were solid rather than bulky.
Yeah.
So in terms of sizing, they're perfect for workshops. But the thing is, if you go much lighter,
But also, that's the thing, it's also lighter, especially if you're doing sort of like a bag making workshop, if you're doing a quilting workshop. What you also don't want to do is restrict your size of your machine. So the NX series and the UX series have what they call a 12-inch arm, so 30 centimetres. The G series and the DX series has an 8-inch arm, so that's your 20 centimetres on there. But as you notice, we've got an extra high rolling area as well, so it does give you a very nice working space on there. And then again, with those smaller lightweight machines, you take it to class and you find out you've just restricted yourself, you're making yourself again sewing more difficult. So it is still a full 8-inch arm machine, which go back a few years ago that was classed as long arm. On that side of it. But as you're saying, you've also then got the performance, the quality of stitch, so when you are at a class and you're sewing, you can get home and carry on that same quality rather than necessarily getting home and thinking, oh, I need to unpick all of this now and then sew it again. So
my next question is, because I haven't seen the quantities on these, Gemma loaded them for me yesterday whilst I was doing other stuff. How many of these, of the DXs do we have? DX
2000, literally that is my only one.
That's the only one?
Yeah,
okay.
On that one.
So could well be fisticuffs because Gemma's got her eye on it.
No, I do apologise, it's DX7 I've only got one off. The DX 2000, so I've got 2 of these, sorry.
Okay.
Because this now is sold out. Right. It's not on the. Oh, I think it is on the website, but it will have sold out on the website on there. I know we're not getting any more of these back in again for the pre-delivery of next sewing festival quilts. Believe it or not, September. Oh, end of August, September, we'll be getting them back in again. This is a machine we specifically had designed for the Festival of Quilts.
Which is why it's the...
Right, it's the QVP, Quilt Virtuoso Plus.
That's what I was sewing on at the weekend.
That is wonderful.
I had mine out at the weekend.
So that's lovely.
It greatly.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and again, this is such... Because it's the basis of the DX7 as well. So this is another thing where we bring out of a special edition machine. We don't redesign the whole machine for the sake of redesigning it for something a different shape, a different colour, just to call it a special edition. Yes, fair enough, we've added the blue accents on here because it's the QVP range, so it goes with our MO2000, it goes with our Kiri range as well, which is the beautiful side. But the machine itself is 100% mechanically and electronic the same as the DX7. So advantage is you are getting a quilting set as an extra, so your free motion, applique, open toe, clear view. You're also getting a thread stand to go on here, as well as it comes standard with your extension table, a really nice extension table. Also it comes in with your utility feet, your walking feet, your free motion feet, 1/4 inch feet, in the ditch feet, Teflon foot. So it comes with a big range of accessories on there. Just going back, I think, to a question that was asked earlier as well, the DX range and the G series range is what they class as a low shank.
Right. Oh,
so,
yes.
Yeah, for the room. It recycles itself back again. Yeah. So for that, then that's a low shank with clip-on attachments.
Yes.
The UX and NX is high shank because and then the reason we had to make that different, we didn't just make it different for the sake of being awkward, is the UX and NX has got the built-in dual feeding system.
Yes, so you don't need a walking foot.
You don't need the walking foot. You just drop it down,
and it comes into its own, which is just perfect.
And because of that, and it needs that extra space, and that's why we had to do it high shank instead of low shank. But the individual feet that clip onto it are all interchangeable. And because that's another thing, again, being in part of that development, even when we look to go to change the machines in different models within the same series, or even when we looked at their higher series of machines, the parameter is the parameter. 7mm stitch width, the feed system goes forwards and back. We didn't fall down the trap, and it's questions that the hierarchy, well, this manufacturer does this manufacturer does that, and the problem is, once you start messing with the feed system, the tension systems, the sewing system, you mess with the straight stitch.
Yeah.
And 95% of our sewing is straight stitch.
Yeah.
So even with our going up to our top of the range machines, it is still the same sewing system.
So I have that machine down in Cornwall, and that's the one that I sew on in Cornwall all the time.
Yeah.
When I'm here, I have my TL 2200.
That's right.
And that's my workhorse here, unless I need to do a zigzag stitch or anything else, in which case I bring out my DX. So and then if I'm quilting and I need the extra neck space, then the UX comes
That's
out.
it, and then you've got the extra wide throat walking foot on the UX that way.
And that's how personally I work. So those of you that have seen me over the years, the machines that we have here, that we use day to day, every day, the TL 2200, I have
That's
not
your workhorse.
put anything in front of that it has not eaten up.
No.
Just absolutely eaten up. It's been blinking brilliant. It's never missed a beat.
Yeah.
So
this obviously this has got such a cult following.
It really has, for good reason.
There's definitely half a dozen websites out there which are not owned or operated by Juki. They are completely independent people who have got the TL series. Fair enough, a few of them are American, because again, over there, they've all got number of machines, they've all got basements, they've got their long arms in and
Can we
things like that.
to the very start of this show when you said that you and your brother both work?
Yes.
Where does your brother work now?
Oh, my brother actually works for Juki America. So Juki UK. So Juki UK is based in Essex. I love Essex. I'm an Essex boy through and through. I've lived there all my life. But my brother, who works for Juki America, happens to be in Miami. And yes, I do go and visit occasionally because I have to see what the American business. It's nothing to do with obviously Ocean Drive and all that.
None of that.
It's purely to see what Juki America do different to us. That's it.
Right. So Claire says, "Hi Natasha and Gary. I met Gary at the Harrogate show last month."
Wonderful, yeah. Again, it's just lovely to see. Obviously, with yourselves, I met so many. Obviously, speaking about that, I'm coming here as well. Obviously, we had this date. I know we've not got a lot of advertising because we didn't know what machines I had until last week. So
yesterday, Chris. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she goes on to say, "I'm a newbie." She says, "You're a lovely guy." She says, "I'm a newbie."
Thank you.
But thanks to the great information from your old shows. So the ones we've done previously, and a redundancy payment, she got the TL 2200. She loves it.
Wonderful.
And Cynthia says, "Gary, I'm a proud owner of a straight stitch TL 2010.
2010.
Juki, after watching you on Natasha Makes, bought locally to me about 2 years ago. Best decision ever." So Cynthia lives in Ohio. We always have to say Ohio to you, Cynthia.
Indeed.
And Lisa says, "Morning both. I'm lucky to have two Juki machines. The DX7 and the NX7. Both are an absolute dream, and I wouldn't use anything else." And they are the two machines for anybody that wants two machines.
Yeah.
I would either go NX because does everything.
Yeah.
And I'd either then have a DX or the TL20.
That's exactly the as a combination. I know it's a price point as well. I would say the DX2000 stroke DX7 and the TL. If people are going to have two machines, this is probably the two biggest combinations that they've got on there. Obviously, having the UX and the NX is absolutely lovely. You've got the extra long room on there as well, and it does certainly some other features these won't do. But as I say, 95% of sewing is straight stitch, and this is where it doesn't matter how good a domestic machine is. As soon as you put a swing needle on the domestic machine, it can technically never give you a perfect straight stitch. Even with our feed system, our extra heavy needle bar and all that, it's as good as you will get from a domestic machine with a swing needle. And nice thing with our DX range as well, we can actually convert the needle plate to straight stitch hole only. So again, for the finer fabrics, it gives you that extra control on there. So TL. There's other machines out there they call heavy duty.
My next door neighbour is about to sell hers, having realised
it's not so heavy duty. You can paint the machine grey. It doesn't make it heavy duty. That's all I can say on that one. And the problem is I get a lot of people. Oh, what size motor? What size motor is it got? Is because these so-called heavy-duty machines, they have put a big motor in it. They're talking sort of 105, 110 watt motor in some of them. Ridiculously big for a domestic. So it doesn't need to be there because you would never use that amount of power. Certainly with ours, you're looking at 65 watt, 75 watt, but DC power. So you've got the extra strength there. This produces 1,500 stitches a minute. This produces over 1,000 stitches a minute. They're not going to be slowed, but also the power is where you need it. But the problem is, you stick a big motor in a machine with plastic gears, it's only going to damage it quicker. It's because you think it's going to do more than what it should do.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, we have seen this time and time again. And these so-called heavy machines, we won't even touch. It's
They're
because
not
once you've
manufactured where they used to be. You know, you had big names like Singer that used to be all metal, and they used
well,
to be,
that's it
and
in
they're
the
not-
construction
they're
that way.
not, they've
Yeah.
been bought out, and they're not. They're
No.
not who we think Singer is anymore.
Oh well, they haven't manufactured a sewing machine for over 20 years, so it's purely a badge on the machine.
Yeah.
But it's even not just with them. There's other companies who have made heavy-duty long arm machines on there, and they basically they look good. They're metal body, but it's what's on the inside.
Yeah.
And we've got other machines who have tried to compete with this and other manufacturers. And there's a machine out there which looks basically 95% of what this looks, and it's £500 cheaper. It can't be the
Why?
same machine.
It can't be.
can't.
No, it
And
can't be.
I know it's not just me saying this. I know when you're at exhibitions, these other machines will be there. You can physically go around trying the different machines. And I've had people who have come back to me like a year later saying, I should have invested a bit more money, because you say it doesn't matter what the machine's like on the outside, and with the industrial side of it, it's the performance, it's what's on the inside. With the domestic side of it, they're still using domestic interior. So the industrial full metal interior, quality performance to allow for that speed and strength. But the domestic machine, doesn't matter how big and heavy it's going to be, it's still got a domestic interior.
See, I can say this all day long.
Yeah.
But I'm not an engineer.
That again.
And this is.
But
the
you've
thing,
used
so
enough
it's
machines to know how they feel and how they work
no,
and how they
sure.
struggle, and
Sure,
so
sure.
you're perfect opportunity, because you've got to play with all these different makes. Which,
yeah,
to be
but
fair, a lot of
really-
people at home have got to rely on people like us
Yeah.
telling them what they're like and
Yeah.
how good they are. And obviously, this is the thing with ourselves at Juki as well. We don't just sell you a box and say goodbye. As you've recognised, we do FaceTime, we do help time. You're here to back it up. We're here to back it up. 95% of the time, a query with a new machine is not a problem with the machine. It's just the person getting used to it.
Oh, but do you remember when
You
I
know.
was on maternity leave? I bought my overlocker, and there was just one thing that I hadn't quite got right on
Yeah.
it, and it was throwing everything out.
And-
5-minute call, and I realised it was my error completely.
And job
I-
sorted.
and I wasn't made to feel silly. I wasn't made to feel anything. And I hadn't had to send it off. I'd had a 5-minute phone call with on FaceTime, and you're doing this, Tash, and that's fine. Claire Angelina comes back. She says, "Thank you, Gary. I can't access the discs when opening the side panel."
No,
There we
so-
go. Case in point.
Alas to say on that one, that
Yeah.
it was. So again, got it in an engineer, but again the problem is to say, when you've got a machine like that, because then the actual labour time involved taking basically the machine apart, and a lot of time, because they are budget level machine, the labour time can really put it above sometimes. You think, oh, is it worth then spending money on top of that? Or do you think, right, okay, obviously I'm using my machine, I like my machine, is it time now to invest and move on to a machine which again in the long run can look after itself and you obviously enjoy sewing more as well. So so
Gemma's piped up.
hello Gemma.
She said to Michelle, who's trying to convince herself that she doesn't need the DX.
Yeah.
And Gemma says, I could have written this, Michelle. The NX7 is my workhorse, and I adore it, but tempted to have the DX 2000 or the DX5, as it's a smaller size and I can take it to workshops.
Wonderful,
etc.
Again, you say easy to carry around. The great thing about them as well, they do come with solid hard not the TL, but the DX range. So they do come with good solid hard covers. So I have people transport. Obviously, we have classrooms ourselves, so we have people transport machines around all the time on there.
Well, that's
It is
down there,
very solid to say, and you carry yours around all the time as well on there.
And,
So
that is something to consider, because I did have to brake. I had my TL behind the passenger seat, and I did have to brake, and I have snapped the spools on mine. I need to get a new, but I know I can get the parts. I'm not too.
that's
worried
it
about
again on something like that is no
and
problem.
That was, and at that point, I was like, I really wish they did a hard case for it. But that's my out of everything, that is the only thing, and that's my error.
Yeah, and again,
So,
it's sort of something like that. It's very frustrating, but also ourselves at Juki fixing that spare parts problem back up that way. Absolutely, we look after yourselves on that. No worries. So,
Oh, Sue says, I have a Juki industrial walking foot
Okay,
machine.
yep.
Is there a way of altering it and adapting it to quilt on it?
so to quilt, basically it's just straight stitch. So unless it's a specific, like a heavy, if it's a leather machine walking foot or something like that, then realistically you could really try and scale everything down. But it could be done, but a lot of the time the problem is once it's then set up for heavier weight fabrics, the feed is heavier, the needle plate has then got larger holes in there for allow for the thicker threads, the thicker needles, etc. that way. So realistically, if it's a lightweight walking foot machine, then to be fair, you probably wouldn't be asked the question because you could probably know you could do that anyway. If it's a heavy duty walking foot machine, everything is scaled up. So unless you had scaled everything back down again, the answer really probably is no on that one. And on the other hand of it, sorry, just interrupting you slightly there. Obviously, freehand and quilting, free motion quilting, no. Not at all on that one.
All right, thank you. Good to know. Patricia says good morning from a sunny
Good morning.
So pleased to see Gary here. I always manage to get a tip or two. I bought the NX7 refurb from Natasha a few years ago.
Wonderful.
And I just love my machine. Amazing what it can do. And this is what gives me great joy because I know hand on heart that we are sending good machines out into the world.
Absolutely. On that, we just say these are not used, they're not abused. You say you can take it out of the box, and if you don't think it's brand new or you just don't like it, you just return it to me. So it's simple as that. That's how much we can guarantee how new they are.
I know it's a big investment, but if anyone out there is pondering a Juki, do try to afford it. No regrets, joyful sewing.
Wonderful.
And this is what we hear time and time again. And you'll notice that the queries on the machines not working have not been about any Jukis.
Well, and thank you on that. No, we always say it's lovely. And also, the queries with Jukis, most of the time on there, it's not actually an issue with the machine. No. It is just getting used to it. It's just user. Because sometimes people try and use them. It's the times I see when we sit there and have a demonstration and the customer will sit at a machine and straight away their hands are here. And oh no, step off, because you can just see they're trying to help their machine sew. And I've always said, as soon as you've got to help a sewing machine sew, it shouldn't be doing it.
So case in point, when we were both at the NEC, and I was on the Hobbycraft stand with one of the presenters from there, and we were doing a live bag demonstration, and he wanted to sew it, and he was battling it. I said, just let the
by the way, that wasn't a Juki they had on the stand, by the way.
No, my Juki.
Yeah, what your Juki that was sewing on that one?
He was, because he wasn't used to sewing with a Juki, he started trying to battle.
Oh, he was
just let the machine.
Let the machine do the sew, right?
So we have this bit that we ended up putting a handmade sticker over the wobbly bit that he did, because he assumed he needed
to assist the machine. That's right.
And I just said, look, just let go. He's like, I can't. I said, let go. And sure enough, it just flew through. He said, but you're not doing anything.
You shouldn't have to with a machine. That's right. A machine should sew on its own. It shouldn't need you to help it sew as such to say.
No, exactly.
But you say it's the easiest way. Then the stitch quality is not going to be there. There's more chance, obviously, of bending, breaking needles, damaging the machine, obviously when you're forcing things through. So
Dasha says, I'm late to the party. What are the prices and how do they get sent?
Well, we haven't even gotten to that part yet. Actually, you're not late at all.
You know what?
Go on, why are you there?
Let's start going through these machines. So, we have got for you, Dasha, if you are just joining us today, we are looking at ex-demo Jukis. They have been on the stands whilst Gary has done the tour of all of the shows. They have been used probably for about like half an hour, if anything.
If that exactly. Some of them have not been used at all. Some of them they're not even, even if they have been used, they're not been used enough to even to run them in. No. So that's sort of how new they are.
But it does mean that you are getting hundreds off, and we are the only place, unless you catch Gary at the end of a show, and drag it back yourself.
That's it, and carry it back yourself on there.
These will be delivered to you by courier to your door.
We handle everything obviously at Juki ourselves. We make sure the machines are fully sew tested. They're then labels. They're signed by the engineer as well as a full OK sign off. So you're buying it with a full 2 year warranty on there, with the back to base service, backup, online tuition videos. Face-to-face FaceTime help on there as well, so
it's just perfect. And don't think that it's not that I use that too. If ever I have a query, I
Yeah,
use it.
absolutely. Again, it doesn't matter whether you're professional or beginner. We have all got questions occasionally on that.
Can't know everything.
And we don't, definitely. But also, there's something is about knowing everything. We may not even have a query until we know on that. And it's especially if you're going to a new machine as well, where you may have used the machine for decades, literally, and then suddenly you go to a new sewing machine, and then you still try and use it like an older machine, like case in point, where you've got a machine that you've really got to help assist and sew. If you try and do that on the Juki, it's not going to like it because it wants to sew it itself, which is a great thing because it is a sewing machine. Yeah.
Have a look on the website, natashamakes.com, search for Juki, it will come up. Now, the other thing, very quickly before we start looking at these machines, I have one of the iron. You know my lovely, lovely iron. It's just down in the corner, just down there. They can see it. It's
you can see. Oh yeah. Oh sorry. I could see it until I stood in the way of it.
That you see me use time and time and time again. Now, one thing I would say about this, if I have to have any query about anything, is that it takes a while to heat up because of the amount of water that it stores. But if I am sewing all day, that is the iron.
That's it, because that's the thing. Once it's heated up, you can use it all day and leave it switched on. Yeah. Once it's a high pressure system as well.
Brilliant.
2.5 bar pressure. Yeah. So basically full upright steaming as well. Yeah. So fragile fabrics, obviously velvets, curtains, soft furnishings. You've got full upright steaming, normal temperature control on the iron there as well.
Do they all come with the Teflon plate?
They do. They come with the...
Because that has meant that I have been able to steam velvets, and whereas I wouldn't normally even touch them.
No, that's right.
Steam them onto things like Starville Fix. So for bag making, that has been a game changer.
Brilliant. So again, those little adaptions on there. A nice thing about this, even though say it's a Teflon plate, it's got a full over with a whole gridded hole.
Yeah.
So that means it doesn't give a lot of heat in one place. So for fragile fabrics, because with an iron, when I take the sole plate off, as you can see, it has got the main holes just at the beginning. Yeah. So some of the irons, I don't know if you tried it at home on a domestic iron where it's got holes all over, it ends up saturating the fabric. So with this, it only puts the steam at the first at the beginning. So as it takes for the rest of the iron, obviously that's then what gives you takes the creases out, but doesn't leave you with saturated fabric as well.
I didn't even think about the fact that I would need to give that a clean.
Yeah, I just say I'll put that back on quickly on there. But also, it's the thing about the Teflon plate. If you don't use the bottom of the iron, which obviously you don't, because that's the build-up of steam left in there, and that's all it is. But as you can see, the Teflon plate has not got a mark on it, so absolutely fine.
Brilliant. However, the side of the machine, where I have melted on the side of the actual thing, where I've melted glue and goodness knows what.
I think we've all, if we've got a crafting iron which is shiny and new, there's a problem somewhere.
Yeah.
If it hasn't got glue stuck over it from a spray or from an interfacing or something, there's something wrong there.
That's heat and bond. I use that so much with the cork. We're the first people to. I don't know if anybody's copied us yet. To use heat and bond to bond fabrics to the back of cork, and then sew with it like leather.
That's lovely.
But without having to change to a leather needle or anything like that. So you've got the pleasure of sewing as a fabric, but with
the cork on as well. Yeah, that's really nice.
So right, so let's have a look for Darshana and everybody else. Let's go through these machines. Let's see what we have for you.
Indeed. So first of all, the Duke's iron, literally a one-off on there. I just grabbed it at the last minute, so that's why it's not even on the list. I don't think, unless Gemma's uploaded it already on there. Comes complete with the stands, 2.5 bar of pressure, full tank, and £199.
Brilliant. Should be over 300.
329, I think they are online at the moment. Again, these are not false discounts. If you say you can literally go on to, if you even go onto the Franklin's website, my own website on there, you see those 329.
The other thing
that comes with just one thing.
Yeah, go on.
Irons come with a 12-month guarantee, not a 2-year guarantee. Okay. So that's as standard as new, a 12 months guarantee.
The other thing, very quickly, that I like about Franklin's, who are the importers of Juki, is that even though you are on other shopping channels, they don't suddenly do one crazy discount. It's the price is the same across the board. You're not going to find it like someone giving a crazy massive discount.
Not at all on there.
It's just not what's done.
Well, now you've mentioned that side of it, I will go back, and it's like going back to what the lady said she had a 2010 on there. So, a lot of people go to Juki.com. Juki.com will take you straight to America.
Oh, okay.
And this is why I get a lot of people phone up and say, oh, what about this machine? Or what about that machine? In America, they have 5 different versions of this.
Oh, wow, okay.
And they are all based around exactly the same machine.
Right.
And some of them are quite a bit cheaper.
Right.
So 2 things. The different models come with a lot of different accessories. R1 is the complete top of the range. So it comes with all your walking feet, your free motion feet.
Yeah.
It comes with a table. It comes with absolutely everything. So in the American realm, they do stripped out ones because some people want to buy just a head to go onto a long arm quilting frame and things like that. So you do have to be obviously careful knowing exactly what you're buying. But the big difference is obviously in Europe, I don't want to get too technical on here, but we have things like ROSH compliance and things like that. So in the future, for recycling, for the electronics and things like that, America hasn't got the same guidelines of us. So their electronics are different in their machine to what they are in our machine. Obviously they use 110 volt as well, we're 220. So it's never gonna, without a converter, it wouldn't work properly anyway. But because of the different boards inside and the electronic, any machine imported from America, basically we can't touch. Our parts are not compatible.
Okay.
We won't look after under warranty or anything like that as well, because they are a different electronic controlled machine. So we physically can't do anything with them. So it is a big question. Why have I seen it this price, or have you got this particular model number in stock and that? Because you've been looking at an American site. I have known people who have thought, oh, I'm getting a bit of a bargain. They've imported one. Obviously, you should be paying things like import duties, taxes and that on there, which some people don't do. But you won't get a warranty with it. And I've had it where people have just plugged it straight in and blown them up. And obviously, that's going to be a waste of money as well. So I would always be, yes, they can look like they're a bargain, but there's a reason why these machines do come across that they seem a lot cheaper. Okay. Obviously, with ourselves, they are full, obviously, European models, up to all appliances and sort of guidelines on that as well. Okay. So, and it's not just the TL, that is with the overlockers and with some sewing machines as well. Obviously Juki is such a big name. We have got some American dealers for some reason feel they're selling into Europe, not going to say just into the UK, and they are not telling people they are not, that side of, and to be fair, why would they? It's bad ethics, I know, but they don't need to tell you that. But just as a little warning of knowing where the machine is and what country the machine is manufactured for on that one. Yeah. We
have got a little bit of buffering. If you are buffering, go to YouTube. That is where you can generally get things up and running.
Right.
Just occasionally our Wi-Fi here just.
No, that's just this is our great infrastructure we've got with our 5G that no one can seem to get.
Am I the only one that since 5G came in, our signal has been terrible?
Oh, it has, yeah. No, I think they've cut out now. Obviously, some of the earlier ones which people were still using. It has given us a few problems on the bigger.
It just drives me mad. If you are experiencing any buffering, try and just go back 10 seconds. That often sorts it out. Right, let's have a look then. So, pricing on the TL. So everybody knows the TL because they watch me sew with it day in and day out. It's a straight stitch tabletop industrial
tabletop, yeah, comes complete. You say all your free motion feet. This is a high shank. It's high shank industrial. So they are proper industrial fitting attachments on there. So where did I put that? With parts of my bits everywhere. Excuse me a moment.
And I love this machine so much, and it's my everyday. It is my everyday. Do you want?
Right, I will find them in a minute. So, but it's the bag of accessories. So it comes with all your walking feet, your free motion feet. As you can see, they are proper high fitting, all solid metal on that to work. Obviously with the running of the machine as well. 1,500 stitches a minute. With complete control, so electronic foot control, so you've got that nice variable speed, but you do have a speed restrictor on the front here. Big question I do get asked, does it have a start stop? No, I'm afraid it doesn't. Being obviously high speed industrial, health and safety reasons, foot control only on there, but you have got perfect speed control on the actual machine itself there.
my daughter learned to sew on this machine.
Brilliant. And so you can reduce it down to literally, I think it's something like 50, 60 stitches a minute.
Yeah.
So you've got that perfect control on there
do
as
you
well.
know, oh, in fact, can I show you as well, in terms of also doing free motion, Emily Alice,
Hey,
7,
wonderful.
that is the very first thing that she free motion embroidered, is her own name on that machine at the age of 7, live on one of our Zoom
And that is
workshops.
brilliant. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. As I say, it looks to some people, it does look scary. But it is such, because it's that one trick wonder. It's just perfect on there, but with proper control
But
on
you
it.
see that, but surely a machine that does all the other things is more scary.
Well,
This just does the one thing.
you would have thought so.
a straight stitch perfectly.
Yeah.
Every blinking time. Just that's what I would do.
Yeah.
So this should be. Gosh, what have they gone up
So
to
these
now?
are now $16.95.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
they've
I'll pay that all day long.
they've really
Brilliant.
shot up. Even for that, I say it's still. I say such a iconic machine. It's got such a good following, and sometimes I will see the same person 2-3 years in a run because it's a big investment. But I can guarantee once they've got it. It is a loved machine, and I think it speaks for itself as well. Where all these years, and I know people keep coming in, right? Do we get in part exchange? I can honestly say I have never had one of these part exchanged.
Yeah.
There's nothing to part exchange it for. It's a one-off on there, and I know there has been occasionally, and we do get it on all machines where people buy a machine and for unfortunate circumstances then they have to move it on. But it's such a rarity, and I think we do know within these communities as well, where if something like this may be coming up for sale, where people have moved on from it, changed it, 9 times out of 10 it doesn't even come out on the open market because their friend wants it or a family member wants it, so it's passed straight on that way as well. So 1500 stitches a minute, high speed, straight stitch only, but industrial manufactured, not a stretched domestic machine. So that is the TL2200.
Can I be really honest?
Yep.
I own a proper industrial.
Yes,
Juki.
indeed. Yeah, we're obviously supplied there.
I love this one more.
People now again, even though it is actually the same machine, but it's in a bench with a bigger motor and that. For some reason, people look at an industrial. Oh, straight away they do step off a little bit on there, because in industrial you can't control the speed as well. There's things this will do, like for the free motion and the drop feed, which an industrial machine will not do. So
this one more.
gives you a lot more flexibility.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
brilliant.
just adore it, and there it is. That's my honest opinion. Good morning, Carol. Right,
Good morning.
Yeah.
So,
Let's give the price for this before we move on.
so 1445.
So a couple of hundred.
There's £250. They literally again go online today. You'll see it £16.95. You can order one online. They're in stock, not a problem at all.
Yeah.
We've got them on your website.
Yeah.
Why not save £250?
Well,
I've got 2 of them. That's it. Obviously, with these, throughout the year, I usually have about 6 of these floating around. Is because again, such a desired machine, and obviously we have them on long arm, we have them for free motion, we have them for basically for all types of sewing.
So 2 of these when they're gone.
And literally that's it, because most of these will sell at the end of the show because it is a desired machine.
I've sent people along to you for the end of the show.
And most of them, like you say, you send, it's usually a dealer as well that will come along and buy it, rather than an end user. It's usually, right, I want that from my stand. So so that's the great thing there. And that's a complete 2-year warranty. As you can see, I will tip it forward, because on an industrial machine, any sort of machine that's been used a lot, you will get marks obviously along here, because this is where your scissors are, this is where your pins are. As you can see, it is a brand new machine. It really is on there. So so that is the TL2200.
And if you want to see it in action, watch basically any of my shows.
And it's all on there. Yeah, indeed.
And you will see what it does.
Again, because we've got so much to go through. Again, hopefully, we've got some sewing questions coming. We're going to hopefully do a bit of sewing on there, but we are just going to go through some of the different models on here to start off with. So I'm going to move the TL down now.
Yeah, Claire says, I've used an industrial machine. The slightest touch on the massive pedal and the darn thing took off. Scary things. I sew fast, but that's too fast. But that's the beauty of the TL, is that you've got full adjustability.
You've got that electronic control on the foot, which is there, and then you say you've got the adjustability with the slider.
I don't know if adjustability.
Adjustability is a great word. I like that. I'm going to use that.
But
The adjustability.
Harry, let's swing this around
Yeah.
so that I can. If I give you that shot, then you can just turn it around. You know where my machine would have sat. There we go. There we go. I can do things from there with my camera. And then I can go.
Up there.
Right. What would you like to show us with this? You place that where you would like.
Right. So yeah, let's put it that way on there.
There you
go. Right. So this is the G220. So the G series is where Juki starts on there. So for starters, I'm going to say this is absolutely brand new, this machine. This has not been used at all.
So why are we still getting a discount on
it? It is because I had this one and my other one that I've got, which is the only two that we have on here. Yeah. So obviously, as we all know, we're all doing a bit and we're playing with Hobbycraft TVs. Yeah. So for the last two shows, this is what I've had on there for 1,095. Right. This was my pat shot model, i.e. the pat shot is the one we just sit and make it look pretty for when the camera's on it. Yeah. And then obviously I have my demonstration model as well. Yeah. So it was used obviously on two shows, at 45 minutes per show. And obviously I'm not constantly using it obviously on the show.
45. Yeah, they've shortened the shows.
They've shortened the shows. But as you noticed on that, which is the great thing about it, I've got them to give me back-to-back shows. Perfect. The first time I was on there, 45 minutes. And obviously 45 minutes, I can't do nothing in 45 minutes. No. I'll be talking too much. That's the problem there. So yeah, so when I'm on there now, I do have the back-to-back shows, which is great on there.
So this is the I really hesitate to say cheapest machine that we have.
That's it.
This is the least expensive.
It's basically £1,000, and yes, it's the cheapest we do. So when you put it like that, because the great thing, as I sort of touched on about the DX going to the UX and the NX, that the sewing system has not changed at all. This is where the sewing system starts on the G series. This is why Juki start at that higher level.
And this is all metal workings.
All metal, full metal chassis on their box feed system, DC motor. The running system in this is the same as the DX series on there. So you're not getting an inferior sewing machine.
Nope.
You're just not getting as many bells and whistles, and not everybody wants all the bells and whistles by any stretch.
So my next question to you is box feed. We've mentioned this several times.
Yeah.
If somebody doesn't know what a box feed system is, please could you explain it very
quickly? Okay. So the first thing, I'm going to use my hands. It's the easiest way on there.
I've changed the angle so you can.
Indeed, so we can do that. So your feed system generally, on a domestic machine, they have what they call an elliptical feed. So it comes up, touches, moves down, comes up, touches it on there. So basically, this is when you get to like lumps and bumps. You're having to force your fabrics in for it to connect to that centre part of the feed, because it's only touching sort of there as such. So with a box feed, it comes up on a square cam, so it comes up, it moves across and then drops back down, moves across, comes back up. So you're contacted here and here. So when you're going up to a lump, it will connect, and when you're coming off that lump, it's still feeding it. And this is where you get to some people when you say you get to that lump, oh, I have to force it under. It's because your feed system is not contacting properly on there. And obviously, as soon as you start pushing it under, if your needle's in the wrong place, you end up bending it, breaking it. Obviously, you end up damaging parts of your machine, or you can do that way. But also, I'm now repeating myself again, but if you become the feed system, it's never going to be perfect. It's because you don't know the difference between 2mm and 2.5mm when you're pushing fabrics through. So the stitches will come out a different size if the machine's not sewing for you. So the G series has the Juki sewing system, and that's why Juki start at that higher price on there.
And that means that you can buy any Juki machine with confidence that the stitch that you use, I call it's Pareto's law, isn't it? The 80-20 law. 80% of your stitches will be done by 20%. In this case, your straight stitch.
It's straight stitch.
80% of your stitching will be done with a straight stitch. So why not get a machine that 80% of the time is going to, it's going to be perfect. Absolutely perfect all of the time.
But it's also where I have found sort of a lot of sideways feed mechanism, believe it or not, has been around now for about 30 years.
What's a sideways?
So a dog feed, or tooth,
Yeah.
feed dog. There's different words for it on there. Basically, it should do that all day long.
Yeah.
So it's sewing. It's feeding your fabric. So FAF was the first development, and I was an engineer, and I cut my teeth on FAF creative machines. Back in the day, actually had made in West Germany on the front. That's how it was.
Yeah.
Now they brought out the creative series of machines, and they put a directional feed system. So basically, it allowed it to feed sidewards, diagonal. So it would do larger patterning. So it would do up to like 60mm patterning, and still to this day, even though there's other machines have developed this feed system, it is on not a single professional machine out there. It is, and I have never seen these patterns stitched out. Is because to do a large pattern on a piece of fabric that's going to be moving it sideways, all you need is slight movement in that fabric. That pattern is never ever going to line up.
No.
So this is why if you want large patterning, you go to an embroidery machine where your fabric is held within a hoop.
Yeah.
Do not rely on that feed system. When you see it demonstrated and they're doing it on a piece of fabric about this big, of course it's going to work.
Yeah.
But when you're doing it on a garment or something like that, or you're trying to do a line where you're then sort of trying to make it then
Or
match
even
up.
if you're doing on a quilt or something,
Yeah.
and all that time and effort and love that's gone into a quilt, and then
And you end up ruining it with the edging or something like that. And when you see it sort of demonstrated, you think, oh, it looks quite nice. But for something that actually ruins the sewing system, for something that you probably will never use after you've used it once because you realise what it's like, then this is it. And this is why, even when we say look at the higher models, our feed systems, our sewing systems are the same. Where if you look at other manufacturers, they change their sewing systems throughout. But also, this is why you cannot buy like a sub £500 machine, which is then going to have box feed systems, heavy chassis and things like that. That's what you're investing into. And I'm not talking just Juki, I am talking all manufacturing on there. But obviously Juki starts at the over the £1,000 mark because it takes it to that next level again.
So this machine here, this is so if you are after a Juki and you have a budget, this is the one.
Or if you've got a Juki and you think I don't necessarily can justify spending £1,600 on a machine to take to class, but I want performance, it is absolutely ultimate because this will gain interchangeable feet, the clip on. This is a low shank, so again it will take in all your different feet on there. You've got your full range of stitches on there.
You will if I go up.
Yeah.
There you go.
So you can do that on there. And then so dressmaking, which is your overlocking, your blind hemming, your fully automatic buttonholes. You've also then got your quilting effect stitches, all your applique, you've got your creative sewing, and then also you've got your alphabet on there as well. So obviously making your school labels, name tags on there, or just obviously making presents for people and putting your own labels on. So absolutely perfect on there. So you've got 186 stitches to play around with. So not the most, but certainly not the least either. What don't you get on this machine compared to the DX? So with the machine itself, you haven't got all the memory and creative. So it's more direct program. So what you see is what it will do. I can elongate with the stitch length. I can change the stitch width.
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
The only time that I ever use the memory is for names.
Yeah, and then this one obviously has then got a memory for the names.
So
You've got the memory for the names, absolutely. But on the others, you've got creative where you can then play around all the different stitches, build your own groups of stitching and things like that. So it allows you. Yeah, and a lot of people don't. Yeah. So again, is it needed? Is it not needed? But if you've got a big machine at home, you've got it anyway. Yeah. You don't necessarily need that in a classroom as such on there.
Absolutely.
But
in fact, Jan says I've got the 120. It may be the least expensive, but I never need anything else from a sewing machine. It's true.
So G120, G220, 99% the same machine. There's one difference in it, and it's that button there.
Which I wouldn't be without.
And exactly it.
It's like, I know it's third world problems,
yeah.
but you just wouldn't.
Oh,
first world
absolutely.
Problems, you wouldn't go. You just wouldn't.
I've always
For
put
those
it.
of you that are wondering, what is that button? What did he point to?
If I just press it,
it's the thread cutter.
And there's it. And then I just press it. Good old clonk, chink, chink, chink. Cuts the thread for you, brings the needle up. And you say, I relate it to electric windows in a car. You do not need electric windows in a car. You would not buy a car without electric windows these days. Is because once you've got it, it's convenient on there. And a thread trimmer. Once you've used it once, you just don't live without it. A couple of reasons being, every time you sew, you cut your threads. It's not a gimmick.
This is true.
It's not a gimmicky thing they put onto their machine. It is something you will use on there. Also, it holds the bobbin thread for you. I never ever have to pick the underneath bobbin thread up. So you're not pulling threads, you're not wasting threads. Also, you're not then got that long tail at the beginning where it's going to give you loops. So when you first start sewing, it gives you more of a perfect start on there as well.
Do you know what? I might get it caught under 2 stitches and that's it.
Yeah, well, you're naturally going to have, I think it's 7mm. It's a 7mm tail.
Yeah.
That's right. On an industrial machine, people sort of say, why they don't do it on the industrials? Well, drop-in bobbin systems, you change the thread, so it has to change direction. So you need at least a 7mm. Don't get me wrong, there's some machines actually leave a longer tail than that, which causes more. Industrial machines being an upright rotary system, it's a much shorter tail because the cutter is literally on top of the bobbin case. So that's why domestic machines will offer you a slightly longer tail. It is just the nature of the system in there. So, but the underbed trimmer, you say, it saves you dragging threads, it saves you wasting threads, and as we know, you buy 1,000 metres of Gutermann nowadays is what, 12 quid, 13 quid.
Well, exactly.
So
Gemma's piped up again. She said the thread cutter button saves me so much thread and my sanity.
Brilliant.
And it's I think if you over your sewing career, if you added up how much it saves you in terms of thread, and let's be honest, I play bobbin chicken a lot.
Yeah, so we all do. Absolutely.
So if it gives me that little bit more to play with bobbin chicken wise, and I haven't had to, waste thread by pulling it through to use on the side cutter, I'm all over that. That's the one for me. I just absolutely love it. Yeah. Yeah,
so that's the GSA. The difference between the G120 and the 220 is purely that thread trimmer on there. So we look online at the moment, the G120 is 965. The G220 is 1,095, I believe.
How much is it?
So at the moment, as you say, we have got 2 of these. I am going to, obviously, I'm just getting used to the prices. So at the moment, £895.
Okay.
That does include, it's got the hard cover. The hard cover on this particular one hasn't got the pocket in front, but it does protect it. The handle's on top, so again, you're carrying the machine itself. Doesn't include the extension table, but the large extension table you can buy as an optional extra, so that fits it absolutely no problems at all. Obviously, with all your optional extras, it comes then with your zip foot, buttonhole foot, overlocking foot, blind hemming foot, and utility foot. But there's lots of your free motion, your walking feet, your creative feet, all interchangeable to fit on there, absolutely no problem at all. So that comes off. So your sleeve arm, obviously it does then give you your sleeve arm on there, and you notice as well we've got a drop feed. So for all our creative free motion sewing as well, we have got the drop feed.
Does everything.
Nice long free arm. And you say we have got the 8-inch arm, so you've still got the same throat size as the DX as well. A lot of people, when they look at it, for some reason it does look smaller. One of the main reasons, when you look at the DX2000 and the DX7, it has triple light systems. So there's a light here where obviously you've got a little bit of shadowing on your G series, and it's the same as the DX3 and the DX5 actually. It comes with a light system just over the needle. Daylight lighting, which is nice, but the 7 and the 2000 comes with a light system under the arm as well. So it does just give you that little bit of extra lighting. So that just pops back on. So with that is the G series. Again, performance, quality, offering you a good selection of stitches. Again, if it's your only machine, you've got everything you need for all your creative sewing. It's strong enough for all your soft furnishing, bag making. And then if you want it as a second machine, it's certainly going to give you the quality and performance as your machine, your Juki at home, but giving you the portability to carry it around, but with the actual build quality, so you know you're going to enjoy using it. It's going to be the right machine, and it's certainly interchangeable. If you already own a DX series out there, UX, then the feet all clip on and off, and they're completely interchangeable with what you've already got. So no problem there. So that's the G series, and say we've got 2 of those at the moment on there.
Excellent.
Wonderful.
Right. Next machine, Gary. What are we going for?
So
next?
from there we have then the DX5 and then the DX7. Obviously the DX range, people, this is just railway gnomes. Obviously, we've just finished the second series. Oh well, we haven't just finished. We just finished showing the second series of Destination on there. Obviously, they use Juki's on there, and it's the DX7 is what they do use most of the time. Let me just find my DX7.
Remind me again, what was the discount on the G?
Oh, the G. So it's £200 discount on the G series. So,
okay.
So say online they're 1,095, and at the moment 895 for the two that we've got there.
And it was the
G220, not the 120. The 120 is exactly the same quality, performance, it's a beautiful machine, but it doesn't have the thread trimmer. So the difference is the thread trimmer again. But again, having that, and it is nearly £100 cheaper than the 120 at the moment. So really good buy on there. So we have the DX5, and then we have a DX7. Excuse me a moment again. So
which one are you looking for, Gary?
my DX7's gone.
DX7?
Where have I done with my DX7?
Where did you put your DX7?
I know.
You haven't put it in a...
Right. Put my DX2000 back on there.
Okay, so difference between the DX5 and the DX7.
DX7. So, as I first mentioned, like with the G series.
I love how we can lose a sewing machine.
Oh no!
How can we lose a sewing machine, Gary?
Well, amongst your field of machines and my field of machines. Yeah, absolutely.
It's hiding in plain sight.
It is. I'm going to look around and I'm going to trip over it in a minute. I really can't believe what I've done with it. This is the organised chaos.
Under there, is
No,
it?
that would have been embarrassing. No, it's not under there.
How can we lose a sewing machine? Do you want me to come and have a look?
I'm sure I brought it with me. Anyway, we do have a DX7. So we've got basically a DX5 on here, and then.
So the DX5 and the DX7. Okay, so I think this is the thing, isn't it? People get confused as to what
That's
is
it,
what.
and
so
this is where it gives us a chance to explain
the
that difference is.
But effectively the same, but just has different colourings.
That's exactly it.
The DX
2000.
So effectively the same machine. I have one of each.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell you.
No, again, because it is one that sewing.
The
actual in the machine is 100% the same on
you just
there.
have different feet.
That's exactly.
That was it.
So over and above the DX7, it comes with the thread stands and the optional set of creative feet on there, which then comes in a little QVP box. Nice little storage area in there, and then you do get your gauging foot.
Oh, hang on, we can go overhead for this.
Oh,
Gary.
indeed.
I can do that thing. There we go. Right.
So this comes with a DX2000, but not with a DX7 on this particular one. And say these are extra. Obviously, it's available for both machines as well to buy as an extra. So first of all, you get your clear beading foot. So it's got the channel taken underneath. So when you buy the beads, like by the meter, obviously for cording and piping as well, it will allow you to zigzag that into place on there. So that's standard foot. Also then your applique foot. Yes, it does come with an open toe foot as standard, but the advantage with our applique foot, they've actually magnified the front of the foot. And that is obviously for applique, we're all following lines, so obviously having that magnification there, it really is great to see on there, which is again, it's just a very clever genius idea on that. Triple cording foot, so working with your tweed needle on your fine cord, so on there. Gauging foot, this is one of those really useful feet on here. So anything when you're just gauging something down the side of a hem, when you're doing lines of stitching where you want sort of the same gauging on there, following designs and patterns, absolutely brilliant foot that way. And then you have your couching free motion embroidery foot. So that's to allow you to enter your free motion, but it has got then the hole for your couching for your cord to feed through, whether it's wool, whether it's yarn, anything that way as well.
See, I use that anyway just because I can see more where I'm going.
Yeah, that's a great thing.
And I quite like that.
It does give you that clear view on there, which is also, I'm using that camera on, not that one. So yeah, so the overhead view on that one, again, as you can see, it's nice and clear exactly. You've got good visual on that one. So that comes then extra with the DX7, with the DX2000 over the DX7, and then the other extra that it comes with. If you was to buy what's in the box, if you was to buy these extra, they come to about £120 worth of extra accessories. So this is our external thread stands. So on the machine itself, on all of the machines, I can then just literally clip that off and take that off from there. So that is designed to come off. And then when you're using like the larger cones, or even things like metallic threads, invisible threads, the awkward threads, then having then the extra thread stand on here, and then this is the cone holder. So you can use it for the cones, or obviously for your reels, whichever you want. There is a bracket that goes onto the back of the machine, which is going to be difficult to see, but it is that bracket there. So you just attach that, and that permanently stays on your machine. The cover still goes on it even with that attached. And then that slots onto the back of the machine. So as it will sit here, cones, reels.
We can show that if you want.
Yeah, on there.
Spin it around. It's entirely up to you.
Yeah, well again, that's just basically, it just shows you it's a platform to sit on there. Okay. So yeah, so it just holds the reels. So the extra feet and the cone holder comes extra with the 2000 over the DX7 on there, but the machine itself is exactly the same. So with the DX range, now they all come then with your underbed trimmers. They've all got programming, so you can then create for your sewing, so the automatic tie on, tie off. You can have then turning the scissors on to the automatic system, or you can use it as a manual system. They all have the multi-function foot controls as well. So what we mean by that is what they call a heel back. So on the foot controls themselves, they have a rear pressure system. So my accelerator is at the front here, and they have what they call the heel back, which is then here. That I can program into different ways. I like it as an underbed trimmer, so I put my heel on it, then I can just do that, and it just cuts the threads for you.
Now I sew standing up.
Yes, indeed.
So it means that I always have my toe on the top bit, and then so it's different. So for someone who was
just sitting down. Well, again, I actually use it quite a bit different as well. Which I personally use it like an industrial one. So obviously your foot controls like that, and mainly your foot will sit on. That's your accelerator, and then heel back on there. I actually use it on its side like that, and I've had my foot here, and I use that as the accelerator, and then when I want the underbed trimmer, I move it to that side.
Oh yeah, no, that's how I use it.
Oh, that's how you saw it. How you use yours as well.
Yeah.
So again, you can put your whole foot on it and use it. If I want to turn the underbed trimmer off, I can turn that off as a switch completely, so I don't need to use it. Or I can program it as needle up, needle down, as presser foot lift, so I can have it in different functions. And also I can program the machine to completely tie off forwards and back, cut the threads and lift the foot in one operation, just as a finishing stitch. So it's what we use on the industrials that way. So the DX range comes in with a multi-function foot control. The G series comes with a standard foot control. All of the machines you can use with or without the foot control. So you have got your start-stop button.
I have a question.
Yep.
When that foot is programmed, can you then change it between machines and still have it? Will that function still be the same?
When you say change it between,
so if I've programmed it so that it cuts the thread on the heel, can I then plug that into a machine that doesn't have that foot function and it works? No. Okay. So the program is built into the machine. Right. So even if you had a DX7 and DX2000, for instance, so when you took and you had the same foot control, which obviously works between both machines, this is an activation switch. Right. So the program is actually built into the machine. All this does is activate the program. Okay. Yeah, on there. And Gemma says you haven't lost a DX7. You don't have a DX7. You've got an NX7.
I've got an NX7. Thank you, Gemma, on that one. I've got a DX5.
But you don't. But you've got two of the QVP.
And I'm looking DX. On my list here, and you say I'm looking no DX7 on my list. So perhaps I'm. Hey, I'm not as silly as I think. Thank you, Gemma. I'm not as silly as I think I am.
No, it's all okay. It is all brilliant. Okay. Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
That's okay then. Good. I haven't lost it. Well done. So, well, maybe not. I haven't lost the machine. That is on there.
Honestly, when Garry arrived today and he opened up the back of his van, I was like, "That is a lot of machines." Yeah, Garry.
Well, again, it's all right to stand here, we just chat about them, but to actually physically, you want to see them, we want to hear them running, which we're gonna get there as well.
Have we actually turned one on yet?
Yeah, we've got to switch. We've got to see the light system. We just haven't run it yet. So, but this is the great thing, where we're not restricted. Obviously, when we're on the TV channels, we are governed by a format. Where here, you say, it's just brilliant. Our hour we have together here is nice because it seems more like 3 hours that we're here. So, and it's great. So it is absolutely brilliant that we can just chat and have literally a discussion about wheres and whats and hows between, because a lot of people out there, they don't necessarily will know the differences between them or whether they need the differences. But when you think, well, actually, between this and at the moment, like a DX7 online is £16.95, and this is £150 cheaper, and you're getting £120 worth of extra bits with it. That's near on £300 saving. So
that's a lot of fabric.
That's a lot of fabric.
It's not what we spend; it's what we save. We know this.
That is exactly it. No, but again, with something like that, it's sort of justifying. You think, well, do I need quite as much as that? Then at the moment, the DX5 is £12.95. So that's £150 cheaper than its normal price on there as well. So with that, you do get obviously your full range of accessories. So with the DX series as well, I take the arm off. So again, the 8-inch arm on there. Then we just use the overhead camera again. Let me just get rid of those other little bits from 2000s. Just put those away in there.
We've got the bread stand right in the middle of the street.
That can go as well, won't it? Don't need that on there anymore. So with then the accessories, let's put the top back onto there.
Which machine do you want where?
So I'm going to just this here. So the accessory arm on that, yeah. So all the DX range comes with this accessory arm.
Yes.
So the DX7 and the DX2000 comes with the extension table.
As well, yes.
The DX5 and the DX3 is an optional extra for the extension table. So again, that is sort of I think they're £89 option to buy on them.
Now, you see, if it were me, I wouldn't need it because I would bed it into my
you've got your lovely RMF table,
so
absolutely.
I could save myself
that's it.
That money, and that would be absolutely fine.
But also for a classroom as well, you don't generally need extension tables at classrooms. A lot of classrooms don't have space for them, for starters. But also, a lot of time when you're at class, you're working on a smaller project.
Yes.
So you don't necessarily need the extension table.
Or you wouldn't get around to the quilting bit.
No, that's exactly. Or the other way of doing it, if you do have then say a DX2000, a DX7 at home already, and then you think, well, I need a smaller machine, I don't necessarily need everything that's got, and like the G series and the DX3 and DX5, then everything you've got at home is then completely interchangeable, including the extension table.
Oh, nice.
So if you had a smaller model, you don't need to buy it extra, because everything you've got is completely transferable. NX people and UX people, I'm afraid, well, I'm not afraid because you're lucky enough to have a 12-inch arm. Yes. So I'm afraid there, obviously with the G series and the DX, they are 8-inch arms, so the extension tables for the UX and NX will not fit then the DX and G series on there, but between themselves they're all interchangeable, including the feet. So
perfect.
But then you do get the extension arm, which then comes as standard with the DX series as well. Nice thing about that, I'll open the front up and we have their nice storage area in between.
And don't forget, it's a double decker.
It is, absolutely. And that was the thing I was going to say as well, because a lot of people don't realise a double decker. One of the phone calls I do get sort of fairly frequently is, my machine's missing the buttonhole foot. Where's the buttonhole foot? And then this is where we talk you through. So we take the little handle there, lift it out, underneath, there you go, that's our buttonhole foot. Really nice little storage area for it. And this is the full sensor system buttonhole on here. So again, this is something I'll be showing you shortly on here. And this is the thing with the fabric, again, same as the industrial ways of doing it, the fabric doesn't actually even touch the feed system. It's all done within the sensor system. So it will gauge the size of button you're using and do the buttonhole to the size. It will gauge the fabric you're using, and again it will allow for those different levels as well.
It's so clever.
Absolutely brilliant buttonhole system on there. So that is standard, as well as in your zip foot, overlock foot, blind hem foot, and clear view foot as well. So with both machines you do get the free motion embroidery foot as well, obviously the optional couching free motion foot and the extra feet with the 2000s. So, and then they all have the drop feed underneath the arm, so again just a nice mechanical switch on there.
Let's show that.
Yeah, so that's just your lever which is there, and again if I just clonk that across, again everything is a positive clonk 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 like so.
Yeah.
So again on there is just, yeah, that's the nice thing about it. It just feels right on there. So they do come again both with the hard cover. The DX series comes with the storage area on the hard cover, and the DX5 and the DX7 and 2000 will both come with the knee lifter as well. And the knee lifter is the bit which then goes into the front hole on the machine in there, which give you a manual then foot lift. The great thing about the foot lift on here, a lot of people say, oh, I don't need to use it. You have got the electronic foot lift on the machine with the auto pivoting. But the good thing about with the knee lifter, especially if you're using bulkier fabrics and quite large areas of fabrics, this doesn't just lift your foot, it gives you double height lift as well. So if you're using really thick fabrics, you've got both your hands still controlling your fabric, using your knee, which gives you then that extra double height for clearance on your foot.
I think I would use it a lot if I didn't sew standing up.
Yeah, that is the thing. You didn't say
it's not going to work for me because I sew standing up.
It's no. Well, but you can use your hip. Yeah, you could do that, and it will work the same way because it is just a mechanical movement on there, so it can be done. And then the one thing we are really proud of as well is the instruction manuals.
Do you know what? I've learned so much from my instruction manual, even just down to real basics. Like, it should be a beginner's guide to sewing. That's effectively what it is.
Yeah, and
it's brilliant.
And that is the thing about it as well, is you just do not need a complicated instruction manual.
If you turn that around, so
yeah, so face view on that one there. So the machine itself is very user friendly. It's got a lot of information actually built into the screen. It has help facilities. It won't actually allow you to do things wrong. So if you try and use it and something's not set correctly, the machine itself will warn you about that. So which is nice, but obviously having a good instruction book. So first thing we'll point out, it is in a single language. Yay!
So hang on. Let's have a look at the thickness of this single language.
Look at that. This is a proper... So it's thicker than most books with multiple languages in. And this is single language, and say. And the nice thing with it as well, obviously we're just going through your normal basics of...
Can I also say, Gary, that if you are like me and you've lost it several times over, you can download it off.
Yes.
Off and print it off again.
Absolutely. Yep, it is all on there. They are ready just to download. Obviously, there's a lot of information and videos already online as well. It does come with a DVD. I do state it is a DVD rather than a CD-ROM, and most of us haven't even got DVD players anymore. But
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Well, a lot of us say we have PS5s, so we just put it in that.
Yeah,
so
no, I've
you put it in the game
I've
system.
Because well, it doesn't matter why I still have one, but I still do because of courses that I've done in the past where it's all been learned through DVDs.
Yeah, on DVD.
Like
so so but it does come with that as well, and obviously as we've always said, the helplines, the advice, the FaceTime, it's all there as well. But as we flick through the book, you say it's all diagrammed, it's descriptions. It really is a beautiful step-by-step control manual going through basically everything the machine will do. Yes. It's got all your troubleshooting in there as well. You've got actual advice, you've got different tips and techniques. Yeah, that is all in there. So really, really good instruction manual, even though the machine itself is very user friendly just to get on and go. But obviously having that extra help, extra advice, extra encouragement to do different things as well. So leaving the overhead view, so what I'm going to then bring out as well. Indeed. So let's do that one. I believe one of that one there. So the DX5 comes with your free motion embroidery foot, and what I'm going to do with this one, I'll show you this one because a lot of people are used to what they class as hopper feet. So when you're free motion embroidery, you're literally in front of your face, your foot's doing that. That's not good for your eyes. That really is something bouncing around, takes your focus away from things. But also, not just that, if it allows your fabric, as the foot's hopping up and down, and your fabric's hopping up and down with it, that's the easiest way to skip stitches, loop stitches, get elongated stitches, because you don't want your fabric jumping up and down and moving. You want to keep it as flat and as smooth as possible. So what we've developed then is a height adjustable free motion foot. So instead of, say, it hops, then this screw on top here will basically adjust the height of the foot. So it's what we call a floating foot. So again, it will give you that perfect control, whether you're using single layer fabrics, thicker wadded fabrics. We've got the control to do the height so it floats above whatever thickness of fabric you've got. So one, it's not allowing your fabric to hop, and second of all, it doesn't play on your eyes where you've got a bouncy thing in front of you when you're trying to concentrate on what you're doing. So that comes standard with the DX5 and the DX7 and 2000. You also then get your Teflon foot. Oops, sorry, let's see the best place to leave these. So then you get your Teflon foot, non-friction, does what it says on the tin. So again, your leather, your vinyl, anything like that. So with the machine itself, with your bag making, with your soft furnishing, the machine itself is definitely strong enough to take that. But obviously what you don't want it doing is marking or damaging your fabric, and especially with things like vinyl and leather, friction and heat can cause it to burn mark. So obviously the Teflon foot is there for a reason. So that's nice. You then get your 1/4 inch patchwork foot. So again, it gives you 1/4 inch markings from left to right, but it also gives you 1/4 inch markings from forward to back as well for when doing cross seams. So that's your patchwork foot. On both machines, we have got the 1/4 inch stitch actually built into the machine, so we can use the standard foot and just program stitch number 3. Thank you very much. Stitch number 3, which will then give you a 1/4 inch stitch allowance on your standard sewing foot. Yes. So that's brilliant that way from swapping from one to the other. Also, in the ditch foot as well. So again, patchwork and quilters know this, where you've got your central guide for butting your fabrics up. A lot of people now are using this on top seams and things like that because of a certain sewing program that was used quite a lot on that. So really, yeah, so again, it's a popular one which is asked for. Then quilting guide. So the quilting guide goes into the back of the ankle on the sewing machine, and it also goes into the back of the walking foot as well. So again, with the DX5 and the DX7, it also comes with your spool holder for your twin needle. It also comes in with your twin needle as well as standard, and then you've got your eyelet punch. So the machine has got automatic eyelets built into it, obviously things like your keyhole buttonholes as well. You have then just got your manual punch on there, so that's what comes with the standard there.
Do you know what? I put in rivets and stuff like that all the time, and I'd never even...
So again, even like you say, for putting in rivets and things like that as well, you've got a punch there already. So that comes with the machine as well. So that comes with both the DX5 and 7 and 2000. Extra for the 7 and the 2000 is you do get your walking foot. So that comes with it. So things with like walking foot and attachments, full stop. What I do say when people come up, say, "Oh, have you got a universal foot for blah blah?" And my first question is, again, they want a Juki stand, so I'm saying, "Oh, what Juki have you got?" And I will often get, they will say, "Well, I haven't got a Juki, I've got a blah blah machine." And I say, "Well, really, unless you can tell me the exact model number of that machine, I can't really assist you. I'm not being awkward on this. I just don't want to sell something that's not going to work properly on your machine or break your sewing machine."
Well,
so
that's
on that
kind of goes against everything. Although if you break the machine,
yeah. So what I say, rule of thumb: if someone tries to sell you something as universal, walk away. They don't know what they're selling. There's no such thing as universal bobbins. There's no such thing as universal feet. Even in the same manufacturer, they will do different fittings and different sizing. Just for instance, Benina have 5 different fittings of feet through their various different forms
so
on there.
The only time I've ever had a problem with my bobbin with my DX was when I was using non-Juki bobbins.
And that's causes a big problem. They may look the same, but there's little differences. It can even come just down to the thickness of the plastic they're made from. Budget ones obviously off the internet, the plastics are not smooth, so if it's got a slight little bit of rough bit on, it can catch there. But a lot of time, if you actually look at the quality of the plastic as well. There's a slightly little different way. I know these little differences don't seem a lot, but as you will know, use the wrong bobbins and you have a problem. They do cause a problem.
And
that
dear viewer, was when we started selling Juki bobbins.
And that is exactly it.
Auntie Lizzie would like to know, does the TL come with the extension table?
Hello, Auntie Lizzie. It comes with the extension table. It comes with the knee lifter as well. Going back to what we were saying earlier about hard covers, the TLs come with what they call a semi-hard cover. So it's hard either side to protect the front and back, but it's soft in the middle so you can fold it flat for storage on that. The handle's built into the machine, so you are then carrying the machine. So,
Jan would like to know, do the fancy ones make you a coffee as well?
Oh, coffee. I knew I was missing something this morning. Thank you very much for that. That was good timing, that was.
Laura would like to know, does the TL22 come with a walking foot?
Yep, so it comes with, that's the accessories I couldn't find as well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
which we didn't go through.
Yes, and to the extent, Honora, if you want to see a walking foot in action, I put mine on my machine.
Yep, we've got that just sitting through there, so yeah.
What was I sewing that made me put, I can't remember what it was. Was it sewable plastic? It might have been sewable plastic, and I just wanted it to feed through equally top and bottom.
Yeah.
And it just did it an absolute treat. Whereas any other machine, you'd be sort of going, oh, what do I need?
This is it. Have I got to reset it and things like that as well?
I just put the walking machine on, and I haven't taken it off again because I'm a bit lazy. But yeah, Honora, it does come with a walking foot.
Well, a lot of people sort of say, well, why do I need to put the walking foot on? Why do I need to take the walking foot off? Well, personally, you can leave the walking foot on all the time.
They will eventually wear out though, won't they?
That's,
it is a consumable part.
That's
and it's
exactly
not
it.
under warranty because it will at some point wear out.
And that is the thing with a walking foot. It's a moving part of the machine on there, so the wear and tear can be. Obviously, the TL is designed for that much harder, faster work. It's an industrial fitting walking foot. A bit of a misnomer on that one because it's not really an industrial fitting walking foot because that's built into the machine. But this walking foot will not fit on any high speed industrial. Oh, it fit, but it will not work properly on any high speed industrial. It's specifically designed for the TL series only. So it's a full metal high shank machine. Attachment, with long feed travel, because the TLs have what they call a long feed travel, i.e. most domestic machines will go up to about 5mm, 4mm in most cases on the stitch length. The TL goes up to 6mm. I know a millimetre doesn't sound a lot, but within what we're talking about, with a stitch, it is.
Every millimetre counts.
Well, that's right. It's another 20%. It's another 25% bigger than what you're used to on there. So it's quite a lot of difference.
So when you're basting, it just means you can base so much quicker.
Absolutely, but also when you're using really like thick fabrics as well, or you really want a nice top stitch effect with that little bit longer on there. There is reasons. So yes, it is a consumable thing. The walking foot itself will only fit the TL. And it also, the nice thing about it, it comes with a beautiful guiding system. It comes with a proper attachment guiding system which you fit around the walking foot, again for seam allowances, obviously for our quilters and patchworkers out there as well. So yes, as standard, walking foot with guiding system, say knee lifter, extension table, comes with three free motion feet as well. 2 different rounds, hole and open toe one as well. Comes with your zip foot, comes with your roll hem foot. It comes then with your spare bobbins, spare needles. So yeah, the whole package is on there. The only
foot that I bought in addition was like a half foot. You know, the really, really skinny ones.
Yes.
Getting really, really close in.
Well, we haven't even got on a professional range of feet that we've started doing now. And again, because of the TL and our industrial side, we've now had it developed for our domestic side. So, as I say, that narrow zip foot you bought is so precise.
It's beautiful, and I use it on because I can interchange my feet with my actual industrial.
That's what your actual industrial machine.
Not my walking foot, but these feet.
The high speed straight stitch ones. Absolutely no problems at all on there. And then also with the nice thing then with the feet, the clip-on feet, if you have your shank adapter then obviously for your UX and things like that, then all the professional feet will go onto the shank adapter as well. Okay. So you can use it on your long arm UX and NX, so no problem.
Nice.
On there as well.
No, I think these are The ones that we've got out at the moment, the DX5 and the
The
DX
2000.
2000. These are computerized.
So I like to say electronic. Because you say computerised, and yes, they are computerised, but when you say computerised, people's imagination usually goes in another way, where as soon as you say computer, you think of upload, download, losing stuff, storing stuff and never finding it again and things like that. So computer sewing machines to me is something you can then upload and download, so you can add designs, you can then create designs on screen, and that's fully computerised. I like to say electronic, as in instead of a mechanical setting, you have got computer control or electronic control. But everything on the electronic side is connected to a mechanical sewing system. And to me, that's the important thing. I know at the top of the show, we started talking about the tensions and the feed system, how it's all mechanical. Well, this goes back to then the computerisation, where computer sewing machines, electronic sewing machines, have been on the market now 50 years. These are not new to the industry. A lot of people think computer sewing machines are quite new. It's like 50 years later, obviously they've changed things, they've upgraded things, they've made things bigger, obviously screens and different, like the same as your telephones, same as your televisions. So, but what we haven't changed, as I said, is the sewing system. We've changed the way you make the sewing system work, i.e. the width control, the length control, the way we've told the machine then to perform. So rather than having a machine that's completely opens computer where you're uploading, you're downloading, you're going in and programming in lots of different ways, which yes can put a lot of people off if we're not computer savvy. But not only that, if we are computer savvy, when I sew, I want to sew. I don't want to sit there having to go through screens and scrolling and things like that. As soon as I switch my machine on, it set itself to straight stitch and away we go. And it will just do that perfectly. Presets the widths, presets the lengths, but I can then completely override that as I'm sewing as well. So you do sort of get the best of both worlds of being fully automatic, but once you want to start being creative, both machines will allow you to do that. So on there. But talking about the machines as well, the differences between the two. So the DX and 2000 and DX7, as I say, mechanically, physically, is 100% the same machine. But we don't have the DX7. So, but talking about a DX7 within our range of machines, and at the moment you go online and look at the DX7 at 1695. So I will keep mentioning the DX7 because now I've mentioned it. And no reason to buy the DX7 whatsoever, because this is £250 cheaper than the DX7 at the moment. So,
and Garry hasn't lost the DX7.
And I think that's the reason why I didn't bring the DX7, because we couldn't do the DX7 any cheaper.
Oh, there you go.
So in my mind, I'm going to dig myself out of this one way or another.
Absolutely. I'm going to bring you coffee and leave you to dig by yourself.
Absolutely, indeed. So, see, that's what it is. I need caffeine more.
I can sort that.
No, so the DX, say 2007, mechanically, physically is exactly the same machine apart from the optional extras it comes with. So then what is the difference between then the DX range, i.e. the 5 and the 2000? First of all, the amount of stitches. The 2000 will give you about an extra 60 stitches. Obviously fairly irrelevant when they're offering 300 stitches anyway, so you've got a lot there to play with. 4 alphabets on the DX 2000, 3 alphabets on the DX5.
Right.
So, but physically, the difference between the two machines, and it's something I do like. If you, years ago, and it's something I have said before, but I sort of repeat myself again, because a lot of people don't necessarily know of this, that width and length control years ago were always dial controlled. So on the 2007 we have got what we call jogger dials, so it will alter my width and length at 0.2 of a millimetre each control, so very, very fine tuning. And also the creative sewing, as you're sewing as well for tapering stitches and things like that, I've got that control on the dials on here. On the DX5 we have got push button controls, so our sort of plus and minus is that way. So sort of facing it that way. So as you can see, the plus and minus and there, That's right. It was just because a basic telling you can see the buttons rather than the actual jogger dials there.
Yeah.
And then the difference is you can't quite fine tune as much. So some of it will allow you to do 0.5 instead of 0.2 of a millimetre on the adjustment. So not quite as fine tuning. Also, just on creative sewing, especially doing freehand embroidery, when you want to alter as you're playing, as you're sewing, having a dial to grab is so much easier than having a button to press, because you could be pressing slightly off to the left or right and you then end up going the opposite one to what you think you would do, where obviously having a dial controls gives you that little bit more ease of use on the creativity side. Believe it or not, to have jogger dials, this is why you don't see jogger dials now on basic line machines. This is an expensive option. It's surprising that all machines at one point had this.
And yet now it's become the expensive option.
Now, because of the control of the stepper motors in here, is so much fine tuning, they are just that little bit more expensive basically to have on there. So that is the thing, where most machines you will see now will have the push buttons until you start looking at top end level machines. And with most machines and other manufacturers, you're not getting jogger switches until you go up to about £2,500–3,000. So again, this is where a lot of people, when they sort of see Juki, and that, I know it's still a large amount of money, but considering what other machines are offering for that sort of money, it's a great investment. You get a lot for your money as well on there. So, which is nice. And then the other thing which I did mention as well, like the G series and the DX 3 and 5 has the double lighting. So it has the lights then just over the needle area, so that's your main sewing point. But as you can see here, there's a little bit of a shadow where you've got no lights on there. And then if I then just swap that around in the same position, so the light is then showing you the same, then on this one,
oh, you've got another one.
as you can see, you've got then double lighting here as well. So you've got no shadowing. So we do get people sort of say they want a better light system on their machine. Then the DX2000 will give you the better light system on the machine that way.
When I hit 40, my eyesight just deteriorated. Just like it was almost like overnight.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, and my brother said to me, "But since when did you start wearing glasses?" Like, since I turned 40. And it's just so strange. So yeah, anything that gives me extra lighting, I'm all about that.
Yeah, anything like that. It's brilliant. But also, you say when you're sewing, you're dealing with colours and that all the time. When you're choosing threads and things like that, it is a daylight lighting, so which is nice as well. So on there, and then. Absolutely, we're on that side of it. I should put it back to straight stitch on there, and that is the thing. So mechanically and physically, those little features extra that the 2000 will give you over the 5 and the 3.
Yes.
Then obviously those are things you can't add on as an optional extra. Things like the extension tables, the walking feet, obviously all the different optional extra are available on all the ranges, so everything is interchangeable that way. As you can see with the knee lifter hole, the DX5 does come with the knee lifter as well as standard. So that is part. It does come with a hard cover with the storage area as standard, so obviously the handle's built in, so to carry it around you have got that, and again that performance, that power, everything that way as well. So with all the Jukis, they've all got built-in needle threaders, they've all got drop-in bobbin systems, they've all got automatic pickup on the underneath bobbin system as well. And obviously here we're starting with the G220, they've all got underbed trimmers as well. Electronic needle up, needle down, they all offer you have that facility which you can program as well, needle up, needle down. The G series and the DX series 3 do not have pivoting facility, and what I mean by that is when I'm using the machine, I can program the machine so when I stop, see how this one's programmed in, when I stop sewing, that foot automatically lifted. So I don't know if we can see that. So when I start again, it will then go down and then carry on sewing. I stop, the foot will lift, it will allow me to pivot, it will go down, and then literally I can go, that is to reverse, which it will do for me as well. So having that pivoting facility is absolutely brilliant on for
any curve,
anything like that.
Any curve, or even when you just get to a corner, you can get used to having to lift it up. I know on the TL I have to, and that's fine. But if I know I've got to sew a lot of curves,
having that function built into it
brilliant.
is absolutely brilliant.
Just
And
brilliant. Love
both
that.
the DX5 and the DX2000 have that facility. The G series doesn't have that facility,
Okay.
and the DX3 doesn't even have that facility as well. Obviously, I
Okay.
haven't got one of those here, but that doesn't have that either. So,
This is good. This is good. Right, what machine have we covered off these now?
so difference as well.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there's just a few more bits. Is the DX7 and the DX5 both offer you the full sensor system buttonhole as I showed you, so
Yes.
it gauges the fabric for you. The G series has the standard one-step buttonhole, so it still does it in 6 stages. It still measures the button for you, so the quality is still brilliant. But these take it to the next level by centering the fabric for you, the same way as the industrials do it. So
Clever.
it does take it to that
It's
next
so
level on
clever.
that side as well.
Gary,
Yeah.
sorry,
So,
very quickly.
yeah,
Have you brought a cover stitch machine?
I have got one.
You've got one.
The MCS 1800.
I'm just that Auntie Lizzie would like to see it threaded.
Wonderful. Yeah, we'll do that.
We'll get onto that.
Yeah,
Sorry,
no problem. Yeah, because I've got a couple of overlockers and a cover stitch, which we'll get to as well. So,
Nice.
yeah,
I better go and get you a coffee.
on
then.
that. That's what I was just thinking. Is how time goes. I say it just disappears. So
It's nearly 12 o'clock.
you're joking. Oh, you say you need to tell me to be quiet and move on. Be quiet and move on. So we've done the TL. Obviously, high speed, straight stitch machine, fantastic performance, heavy duty. It will do everything from your bridal wear right up to your soft furnishings, everywhere in between. Fantastic performance, straight stitch only, 1500 stitches a minute, full package of accessories on there, and 2-year warranty, say boxers new. G series, starting of wear quality Juki's performance with box feed, with DC motor, with heavy metal chassis on there as well. So that's where they're starting. Again, great machine if you want to carry it around, if you've already got a bigger machine which maybe you don't need as much. Certainly for a beginner where you just want that higher level performance when you know it's going to give you that. Or you know you're on your sewing side, you basically all you do all day is maybe soft furnishings, or all you do all day is bag make. So it's limited on the amount of stitches that you want. You might want a buttonhole. You may want just a bit of zigzag or something like that as well. And people sort of say to me, with a sewing machine, well, why don't you make a machine with just, I don't want is 10 stitches. Well, I can make both these machines with 10 stitches, not a problem. And it would be no cheaper whatsoever. It's because once you put a program of stitches in and say, i.e. making your machine do zigzag, you might as well make it do everything else on that, because you're not changing the sewing system.
Right.
All you're doing is just putting extra programs in. So having 200, 300 stitches in a sewing machine is really nothing new these days. But all I will say, I can pretty much say everybody who has asked me about that, I don't want those stitches, I can guarantee when I see them next time, they have used a couple of stitches they would never think they would use before. It's because they are available.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying you're going to use all of them by a long way, but there's going to be the odd one or two, like a hand effect quilting stitch or that little plique stitch you think, I've just never had the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
These machines will allow you to do it. So not a problem.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. The cover stitch machine has actually already sold.
Okay.
But we should show
I can show you how to thread it.
we should do
Absolutely,
that
no
anyway.
problems at all. There. Yeah.
And so well done if that is you, because we only had one cover stitch.
Yeah, literally, we've only got the one MCS 1800 on that. To tell you, cover stitches have exploded
Is that
for.
thanks to the Great British Overview?
I can certainly say, obviously, with the last one I had it on there, it was cover stitches are like an overlocker used to be 30 years ago. Do I need one? Do I not need one? 5 years later, you decide that you buy one, and you think, why didn't I buy one of those years ago? Cover stitches are like that. It's like, do I need one? And when you get it, you think, it's perfect. They give you that perfect finish on there.
Why didn't I have that? So
Yeah.
someone was obviously waiting, hoping. But this is the thing, and I'm not saying this to scaremonger, we only have 1s and 2s of machines.
As we say, each time we do
That's
this, it's not a full sales. I've not suddenly got, oh, by the way, I've got 3 more in my van I can suddenly bring out.
No.
We know the list
We
I've got.
Gary's van this morning.
Exactly. And this is why we can't do this that often, is because we just do not get these machines. And you say, it's not worth me turning up with 1 or 2 machines Well, don't get me wrong, I say that's the wrong way to say. I love turning up and I would be here, whatever. But for sales, it would disappoint so many people just to turn up with 2 machines, because I know a lot of people. That's exactly, or it goes before even online some of the times, isn't it? And we know with this list again, it was late getting to yourselves, so it's limited. But even the limited advertising, again, people have waited for this. So we've spoken to you at exhibitions. You know it's going to happen. It's like, when's it going to happen? So people have been waiting for you on this. So no, it's brilliant.
But I also know that anything is a considered purchase. I do get that.
Yeah.
But just if you wait, all I would say is if you wait too long and it goes, we can't just.
Oh no, definitely, that is it. And you say, and it will be at least another year again, obviously, until this happens. Unfortunately, I think it's nearly 2 years since last time, wasn't it? It was just, I think it was what was going on. Absolutely, yeah.
The other thing that people are buying this morning are the velvet panel kits that we've put together for you this morning, which we haven't shown you. We're not going to show you these yet this morning because Garry is here, but if you did want to, they're the last of our velvet panels that we had. If you would like those with a 1/2 metre of denim or a 1/2 metre of our technical fabrics for bag making, as we did the waterproof panels, the instructions are the same. I'm going to go and get you a coffee. In the meantime, what machine would you like and which camera angle would you like, Garry?
So, obviously, it's up to yourself. I can either do some sewing on these, or I can now do the same as with the overlockers and talk through the range of overlockers.
I'm going to say let's show the overlockers because they see me sew on these every day.
And that, obviously, we've got there's a lot of videos, obviously, of us sewing on these every day as well.
Overlockers we don't get to see.
And it's something we don't get to see every day. And obviously, I do have, like what I brought with the sewing machines, we have got from our MO1000, which is what we started with. This is our baby. This is our baby. Yes. And believe it or not, it is one of them I've got. I thought I had a couple of them. And this is not a sales thing again. Even I had to query the price, is because it's £895, and at the last show our demonstration machines were sold at £995. So I don't know why, and I'm not even going to question it whatsoever. You've actually got it £100 cheaper here than what I was personally doing them, and I don't know whether it's a mistake made, but it's £895 and I've got one of them, and that's the MO1000. That was basically well, and we first had that online, say 10-12 years ago, me and you, £995. On the website today it's £1,395. Again, I'm not going to do a sales thing. I don't know why it's £500 cheaper. It's it's serious. And on top of that, there is 2 MO2. Oh no, sorry, only one MO2000 left now, and that's £1,095.
Brilliant.
So yeah.
Well, let's show those then. The reason that it took me 5 years to save up for the machine, because I wasn't doing enough professionally to warrant it, and then I did, and then it was like, right. Do you remember I bought it when I was on maternity leave with Emily?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And haven't looked back since. Absolutely love my overlocker, and in fact I've upgraded.
Well, what you say is the 3500 is I've got one of those as well, which is your overlocker on there. So this is why I can then explain the difference. I've got the MO1000, 2000, 2500. I've got one. Did I bring a 2500 with me? Did I have a 2500? I'd have to double check that because that's not on my list, but I have got one. So it should be on Gemma's list, hopefully. Gemma's got it on her list. I just haven't got it on my list. And I believe so £1,895 for the 3500, which is your machine. I would have to double check when Gemma will shout at me, and I'm going to say the MO2500 I believe is £1,495.
Let me just ask.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the MO2500.
2500, yeah.
Is how much? I'll just ask her that. Right, let's have a switch over.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and get you a coffee.
Okie dokies. So,
Would you like a chocolate bar?
no, I'm good on that one. Thank you very
Sure.
much.
You're
Yeah,
an
just
evening chocolate eater.
I am indeed. I do love my chocolate, but in the evening, no, sugar and milk would be wonderful.
Brilliant.
So, what I'm going to do then, why I'm doing this, what I can do is something that we don't do very often as well. I will do the MO1000, and I will do a live unpack. Just to show you how you would get it from the box, and this is not just for the MO1000, this is the 2000, the 2500 and the 3500. They all pretty much unboxed and set up the same way. So I'm just going to put my two machines down out of the way. Excuse me a moment, let's put it over here. So we're going to disappear off camera, so it's going to keep going blank for a couple of minutes. Excuse me a moment there. And then first of all, let's take our MO1000. So MO1000, MO2000, the 3500 and the 2500 are all our air threading systems on there. So talking the difference between when I get them out, so they're all 4 thread, they're all 3 thread, they're all 2 thread. They all have roll hem built into it. It can be done with a 2 thread and 3 thread as well. So first of all, unsealing the box. Again, we take the instruction manuals out. Nice proper book again. This one is still a very, very good instruction manual. This one is multi-language, but it's still a proper book on there, so which is nice, and it still comes with a DVD as well. So you have got the best of both. Obviously, throughout the years, there is lots of online stuff for the MO1000 series out there. So in the box, I'm going to take out yarn stand, and then the feeder to go on top of the yarn stand. We've got our accessory pack, and then we have our catch tray, and then we have our foot control. So that's all in the top part of the packaging, so we can take that out. Then we take out the packaging itself, and then we will lift our machine out. There we go. So now I can pop the packaging to one side, and there we have our machine. So I'll put that to one side, I won't trip over that. Right, so the machine itself is safe. You don't physically have to run it in, set it up, as in you're not putting bits together. All you're doing is just a yarn mask, and again there's no screwdrivers or anything involved with that. It's very simple. It just pressure sits into the back of the stand. Telescopic arm, if you just rotate it, you will just get little clicks, little click again, and that's just locking it. Little ball bearing locks into there. And then on top, you're probably not going to see it too well on there, we have got an arrow on the front, so basically just showing you which way it goes on, like so. And that is how easy it is to set up, so it's not difficult at all. Then your catch tray, as standard, so that will then just locate on the front of the machine, so that just locks in on there. I'm not going to lock it in too much, so it's nice and easy, just clips on and off. And then if I open the front, which we do on all of our overlockers on there, I'm going to have to lift it up, because then you can see the storage area, so things like your screwdriver, your tweezers, spare needles, easily nice and stored inside there as well. So that is how easy it is to unbox and set it up. So nothing, that's, I think, generally why we don't generally do that a lot, because it is that easy. So you've not got lots of bits you're adding here, there and everywhere. So on there, so that is the MO1000. So what we're going to do is I will get the other machines out as well, so then I can talk through to the difference on there. So I'm not going to do it quite the same as that, because that's how they all work. So let's just put that to one side. So MO1000, then next the MO2000. So as I said, they are stitch wise, they all offer the same. So the MO2000 is part of the QVP collection, again the Quilter Virtuosa Plus. Because they've called it that doesn't mean obviously it's for quilting, it's just a label they put onto the machine. So with that, I'm just going to pop that out, and then the machine itself is physically exactly the same size, exactly the same weight, But as you can see, apart from the colouring on top, the big difference is then this screen. So with that, it's like an instruction manual built into it for you. So with the MO1000, again, what you see is what you get, and you've got the instruction manual which will run through all the different stitches, all the different settings. That way, this one will give you an information screen. So as you can see along the front of the machine, it's got a row of 15 different stitches. So a lot of people, when they see that, they don't recognise that any machine will do those stitches. So this just happens to lay it all out so you can physically see it as you're looking at the machine. But the ML1000 will do exactly the same as this as well. So going back to that word computerised, this is not computerised at all. Again, like we're very pleased of and proud of with all our machines, this is a mechanical machine. So the sewing system, the pressure system, the tensions are all fully mechanical on there. This basically is an LCD, just like an instruction manual. So as you're changing from stitch to stitch, it will give you information of stitch bight, stitch length, what needle to use or needles not to use. It will also then give you whether it's the roll, hem, lever, forwards or back. So it gives you that exact information what an instruction manual will give you, but it's all there in front of you. Then taking it to the next level, you can actually then set the program in here. So if there is a specific stitch you know you use a lot and there's specific fabrics you use it on, so you might think, well, the settings this gives you can only be an average setting, which is the same as an instruction manual. This will actually take it to the next level. So when you fine tune the machine, you can program the machine in with your personal settings. Again, it's not computerized, so it's not going to set it for you. It will just give you that information on screen. So when you go to that particular stitch, the settings it's telling you are the settings you know you want for that job. So certainly mechanically everything else is exactly the same. Physically it comes with all the same options, extras. That way, wonderful, thank you very nicely. The 2000, it is one of those ones we will say, and this is what we're pleased to say, for how long we've had the MO1000 out, when they brought the MO2000 out, which was 6 years down the line, they physically changed nothing on the sewing side. That is how good and how right it is.
It's so good.
Obviously, if they bring out a new... Sorry?
Toast.
Oh, no, all right, thank you very much. No, all good. Hello? You on camera? No, you're gone as well.
Come on.
And then... So yeah, so that's the one thing. Again, the sewing system in here and the sewing system in here, 100% the same. And over a decade we've been selling them, they have not changed it at all. And again, that's that sign of reliability, how good they are on there. Excuse me a moment. Nice coffee. So, as you can see then, apart from the screen and being part of the QVP editions, the machine itself is exactly the same. Stitches, performance, speed, strength, setting up, no difference there at all. So that is the MO1000 and the MO2000. Something we will say as well, any of our machines, they completely open up at the front and at the side. So for cleaning, maintenance, just to blow the fluff through, again with an overlocker you're constantly cutting, you are going to create fluff and things like that. The maintenance side on our overlockers, again, so easy. So a lot of people, it's one of those things, should I blow the machine, should I use air compressors or cans like that, or just move it back that way? And a lot of time I will say no if your machine is sealed, because if you're blowing air, fluff and that through your machine and there's nowhere to blow it through your machine, i.e. through one side and out the other, if that was all sealed up inside here and you started blowing, the only place that fluff is going to go is then into your machine. So obviously that's a big no-no, or it's something that you're going to have to look and think, well, eventually I'm going to have it serviced a lot more often, because I'm not clearing it on dust, I'm just moving the dust to another place. So cleaning a machine, especially an overlocker, the maintenance side is so simple, and because you can see it yourself. And the nice thing with that as well, you do only one drop of oil is needed, because of the system in here is all metal against metal. Obviously plastic doesn't need oiling, metal does, so it needs looking after. There is only the one place actually on the main sort of looper shaft on here, so again it's the fastest, most moving part. So it's metal every time you clean the fluff out, same as all overlockers. Every time you clean it, give it a drop of oil. Again, oil gets dried up with a fluff, etc. That way, if you've brushed it all out, it's always just nice. Give it a new drop of oil, and I think you find the sound will be completely different to what you're used to. Or if you are finding your machines are getting noisy, then 9 times out of 10, that's the reason why as well. So the maintenance side on an overlocker is technically a lot easier than your sewing machine. So on there, and then as I say, when any of the covers are open, they have electronic safety facilities as well. The machine will not run. So obviously part of our thing we do for businesses, into workplaces, into schools, into colleges, obviously health and safety for us is a major priority on that side of it. So they all have those safety features. So MO1000, MO2000, so great machines, and by a long way, I was certainly the top selling overlockers by a long way. And at the moment, you say 895, it is the cheapest I've ever had it on that, and there is only that one, and then 1095, so that's still £400 cheaper than if you used to go online and look at it now. And so there are 2 of those available on there as well. And we do know people with the QVP series, i.e. the 2000s, the TL series, and even the MCS, the cover stitch machine, they just like matching it all in as well. It's always nice when you've got sort of matching anything in there. So it won't change the performance of it, but it just matches everything else you've got, which is, again, it's one of those little things, because there's such a little difference in price and a £300 saving on that, then I'll keep to the matching, I'll keep to the blue, I'll keep to the QVP series on that, which is nice. So next on that, on our overlocker list, is then the MO2500. So going to the 2500 and then the 3500, those ones basically we're going to heavy duty machines. So these are then if you're going to go above more your dressmaking side and go into like soft furnishing. So a couple of little features then difference on here. They are going a little bit more heavy duty, they are going a little bit faster as well, but still with your electronic control, so still very controllable. So completely opens up still, so you've still got your full air threading system on here, you've still got your auto needle threaders built into it as well, so you've got the best of both worlds that way. What is different? So again, as I said, you're going to a slightly heavier duty machine on here. So the controls you've got, certainly different to coat them with different types of weights of fabric. Like all the machines, you've got your tension control, inline tensions, the same as what you've got on the 1000 and 2000. You've also got your foot pressure, so the same as what we've got on the other 2 machines as well. One of the big differences is this dial here. You've got it on the TL heavy duty version, the TL 2300, which is specifically like for the heavy soft furnishings threads that way. And also we've got it on the 2500 and the 3500 MO overlockers. And this is what they call a micro lifter. So foot pressure obviously increases or decreases the pressure of on your fabric, but it doesn't allow for any extra clearance or height. Problem is, you go to really heavyweight fabrics, you can reduce the pressure off, but if you've got no extra height, you're still clamping all your fabrics, and that's going to struggle feeding, or it's going to feed it through at different rates. So with the micro lifter, what I can do is still keep full foot pressure. Well, using the lifter, I can actually then lift the foot to give me an extra gap between the foot and the feed. So when I'm really using bulky fabrics, i.e. like sort of tapestry fabrics, etc. that way, then this will allow me to do that. So dressmaking, going up to heavier soft furnishings, curtain making and things like that, these will still do heavyweight fabrics, but this is designed to take it that step further if you're going to then do more soft furnishings. There's other little fine tuning bits on here as well, like these being heavy duty for the thicker fabrics, it does then come with a knee lifter as well. So that's what that hole is there, like your sewing machine, the knee lifter, which will then lift your foot up and down. So on there. So then it will give you the extra high clearance for the real bulky, thicker fabrics as well. So that's what the 2500 would do. Then again, with that, the air threading system, 2 thread, 3 thread, 4 thread, 2 thread, 3 thread roll hem. No difference in stitching between them, but if you wanted just something like that, a little bit more, you say, industrial wise, then that is what that's going to give you extra over and above the 1,000 and the 2,000.
So all my viewers that live in Cornwall that get people that go, oh, can you just do some new seating for my boat?
That's it. Obviously, things like your boat, camper vans, things like that, but also even now for making things like with your neoprene and things like that, to sew that, because it is thick but soft. A lot of machines do struggle with that because you're pressurising it too much so it doesn't feed it through. And that is the perfect solution which the micro lifter will give you, is because you're not squashing stretchy fabrics, you're basically pressurising them but still giving them enough gap to feed through. So yeah, absolutely ideal on that. Obviously, by the way, ours all do have the differential feeds as well for your jersey and stretch fabric, so that comes with all of them.
Oh, quick question about
yes,
the
indeed.
G20.
The 220.
G20. Get my numbers out in a minute. Quick question, will it be okay for thick bag materials?
Yes, again, that sewing system, the box feed, heavier motor. The only thing we do say, and it is a big question which people do ask as well, and it's the same, it's not just our domestic machines, and if somebody tells you different, I'd like to say, can you prove that it will do it, rather than just saying yes, it will do it. Domestic machines do not like heavyweight threads. The timing's wrong, the tensions are wrong, it's just not designed for it. And this is why ourselves even reinvented the TL2200 to 2300, because even the 2300 being an industrial machine, still not designed to take heavyweight threads. You have to change, say, all the timings and everything on the machine to do that. So yes, our machines will, and the G series will take your heavyweight fabrics, nothing less than what the DX will still do. It's that powerful. But the difference is, if you want to use heavyweight threads, that's where you would then really look at what you're doing. But with the G series and the DX series, even though you can't use a heavyweight thread through them, you have got heavyweight stitches, so you can get the strength and performance of an industrial heavyweight thread but using a standard weight thread. So our machines will allow you to do that as well.
I know the lady that's asking the question, she makes all the bag patterns that I make
on that, yeah,
so therefore
yeah, so absolutely fine on that. So yeah, no, for that side of it, the machine itself, whether it's the G series, say, going up, it will just glide through that, no problems at all.
Yay!
Right. And then, say, the other overlocker, I put that to one side then, is
would you like a close-up on any of these, Gary?
So we've pretty much, I had them all in front of me, so hopefully they've seen those little differences on there. But if I just get the 3500 out now as well.
Let's have a spin around.
Oh, a gaggle of overlockers I've got there, isn't it?
It's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful
thing.
Absolutely. Right, and this is then the 3500. So the 3500, again, this is going to our top of the range machine.
Should we spin that? We'll just have to move one out of the way. So
yeah.
Look at, if I can show you where we're going. There you go.
I moved the 2000.
Because I just
Let's
think
move
then
that
we
into
can
there.
thread one, and we can see it.
So
that's
there we go. Yeah, in that. So with then the 3500, as you can see, basically it looks like the 2500, but like the MO1000 to the MO2000, we have put the display screen on here. So again, it's an information screen. It doesn't control the machine, it's not computerized that way, but it will allow you to say the different settings on the different machines. This also has the thread trimmer built into it as well, like the industrial. So when we finish sewing, the thread trimmer is not underneath, it's actually at the back of the machine. So on there, so the thread trimmer is actually, if I sort of in at the back here, there's a little sensor that's literally just there. So when you finish, your fabric comes past this sensor, a blade will come over and it cuts the thread for you. Absolutely brilliant. It's the same as obviously what we use on the industrial side of it. So having that facility in there, it's one of those little things again, like on your sewing machine, it's not a necessity, but it will save you lots of thread, lots of extra running on as well. And obviously we know with overlockers we're using 4 threads, not just the 2 threads. So
it's
absolutely brilliant that way. So we can have that, so we can program it in on the machine, or we have then got a manual control for the thread trimmer as well. So that is certainly, let's say, the upgrade, going to the screen, giving you the information, but then we can still play around with that. So we can set the stitches, so we want to then set it specifically then for a tension, a length, a width. We have got all that control there as well. On the side of the machine, we have then got one extra dial. So got differential feed and our stitch length as standard. Obviously the bottom dial is our balance wheel, so that's what we see on all machines. And again, as I talk about balance wheels, on any sewing machine and overlocker, only turn the balance wheel forwards. So well, I will say that's sort of pretty standard across the board, that one. So, and then we have still got then the micro lifter, which, because again it's the heavy duty version on there, so having that facility then allows us to use the real thick bulky fabrics. But going back then to our dial on the side, so in overlockers you basically get 2 thread, 3 thread, 4 thread and roll hem. So that's, and it's a variation on those stitches. So A, B, C and D, this will give me then an auto tension setting facility in here. So sometimes if I'm like doing a roll hem, I specifically want to increase the tension so it's tighter. So if I turn it round to C, which would, again, it would tell me in here, or in the instruction manual, it would tell me that would then be the 3 thread roll hem. And then what that would do is automatically increase my loop of tension so it's tighter stitch. So
do you know what, I need to do more with my overlocker. I don't do enough with it.
To be fair, most people don't.
Because there's so much more that it can do, and I'm not utilising all of it. But I know that this is my overlocker for life, and I know that it'll be there when I've got the time to
and when you've actually got time to do it.
Yeah.
Again, overlockers, why do you need an overlocker? Well, it does 3 operations in one. It just saves you a lot of time, but also allows you to use a lot of those awkward fabrics, the stretch, the jerseys, the fleeces, things like that, which your sewing machine really do not like. So that's a great thing. And the more you use an overlocker, hopefully the more comfortable with it, and the more you're going to get out of it, and which then will snowball, then the more you want to use it again. So, and the more you use an overlocker, technically the more time it will give you as well, because it's doing those 3 operations in one, so which is nice. So you've still got the knee lifter facility on here. So going back to the roll hem, sorry, just slightly on that one. So with the roll hem on here, so I'm changing it to C, which will give me the increased tensions. Obviously manually on both the MO, the 1000, the 2000, you would just turn a dial and you would just up it to a couple of numbers. Again, very, very simple. It doesn't upset the machine at all. On the MO 2500, and I can just bring that in front of the camera one moment there. Then what we've got is this little lever here on the front of the machine. So when I do a roll hem on this one, I would just flick that lever up, which would then interactively increase this tension. Other than that, I can just manually increase it myself. So you have got 2 options on that particular one, and that's the MO 2000 or 2500, sorry. So, but then going back to the 3500 again. So both of these machines are slightly bigger. They're on a slightly heavier chassis than what the MO 1000 2000 is. Slightly sort of those slightly upgraded features, so slightly faster as well. But mechanically or stitch formats, it actually does the same stitches. And to be fair, 95% of overlockers all do. Whether you spend £300 on an overlocker and realise it does a good finish, that it's going to give you a nice quick, got to cope with different fabrics, but then you realise actually that this one keeps breaking threads, this one keeps throwing the tensions out, so you want to invest in a good one. Then eventually, obviously going into the Juki performance level, again, it's that aspiration to aspire to it. But the amount of stories I hear where people bought an overlocker, used it once, shoved it in a cupboard and can't get on with it because they've bought a budget overlocker.
Let's discuss this then. I was given one.
Okay.
And I couldn't thread the thing. and it didn't matter how many YouTube tutorials. I just wanted to throw it out the window.
Yeah.
So that was a complete waste, absolute complete waste. And I knew that I wanted the whoosh system. I knew that was what I wanted because we'd demoed it so many times, and I knew it was
how much it would make your
where
life
I wanted
easier.
to go. Yeah, well, exactly that, so that I would then use it. And my overlocker, for basic overlockering, I have used it for so many things.
Yeah.
And for patchwork, and this I even patchwork with it. For blankets
There's
that I
no
know
reason,
that dogs are going to have or anything like that, if I want that extra protection on those stitches that's not going to, or bean bags, anything
Or
like
certainly things like that. That is, anything that certainly was going to get amount of pressure on it. Having the safety seam on the 4 thread is going to be so much stronger for
In fact,
you. So
I've got a bean bag that's sat upstairs that needs completely restitching because I did it just on a normal sewing machine, and it needs to just kids. And they
well, just say the animals, and they have beanbag fights and everything like that. And
it just needs
obviously, it's nice having a snowstorm this time of year, but you don't really want the snowstorm inside your house full of poly beads, do you?
No, I do
because
not.
for the next 5 years, you'll be finding them.
Yes, that is the one.
Absolutely.
Gemma says that she absolutely loves her MO 2000, and she was the
Wonderful.
same as me. Gemma, in fact, is one step worse than me because her mum gave her old overlocker, so she kept one threaded in white and one threaded in black.
A light and a dark.
I no word of a lie.
So no, and we hear that so often as well. But also, it's not just sometimes the threading; it's the overall performance of it as well. Where if you've got a fiddle, you've got to play. But it's the same as any sewing machine as well. If you've got to spend half your time fiddling with a machine, then you're more likely to think, oh, well, I won't bother this because it's not going to be. But if you can actually just get on and get going on your machine that you enjoy using, and it just changed the whole sewing atmosphere. It really, really does.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's a sewing machine. Years ago, sewing was more of a chore. Everybody made the school clothes, the kids' clothes, the bridal. Everything was made on that. So it was a necessity. It was a chore that everybody did. Now it's fun. Don't get me wrong, the manufacturing side is that we're still making kids' clothes and things like that, but we're doing it more on the fun side. On that, we're not seeing it as a necessity. So being on the fun side, it should be fun, and therefore it shouldn't be frustrating. So this is where the quality of machines really, really then do change on there. So so definitely again, sort of going back to that, and then heavy dutiness. If you want then really doing soft furnishings and things like that, and you want that extra workhorse, this is the one.
Is this the
on
closest
there.
that you're going to get to an industrial?
That's exactly it. Like we do with our sort of the DX series and things like that. We know how good they are, and we know they will only go so far till you need the TL.
Yeah.
These are the MO 1000. Say this is what we've been selling for over a decade. We know how good they are. But again, they still have certain limitations on domestic sewing machines. So this is why we brought out the first of all the MO 2500. They're realising actually people wanted heavier than that because a big industrial.
You start overlocking.
Yeah. But also having a domestic sewing machine or having an industrial sewing machine in your house is a doddle to use. It threads the same way, it's no problem.
Yeah.
Having an industrial overlocker is a completely different kettle of fish. One thing, they are very frustrating to thread because you don't get air threading systems and things like that until you really invest thousands of pounds.
Yeah.
And it's all done by tubes, and so it can be very painful to do that way. But also, you generally do a lot faster and they're a lot more restricted. What I mean by that is an industrial overlocker you set up to do 1 or 2 jobs. As you can see, these do 15 different stitches on here. Yeah. So you're with a good quality domestic machine, you're more likely to play with things like the roll hem and things. You won't get out of an industrial unless you completely alter your machine.
Well, you'd have to have one machine because things just get moved along. Don't they?
That's exactly it. So on that side of it, so this is where necessity was to make a heavy duty domestic based overlocker, and this is then where the 3500. With the thread trimmer, with the micro lifter, with the heavier chassis, everything is upgraded to do that. Obviously we take the knee lifter as well, so it has that facility like the industrial for the bulky weight fabrics. And then one extra this does have is then we have what we call a micro stitch.
if you spin that around,
Oh,
we can see that even better.
in here.
And then I can just adjust stuff so we can go.
So basically, stitch overlockers don't have stitch width. They have what they class as stitch bite. And so basically I can move the blade, so this dial here, which is the same as on all of our machines as well, will move the blade left or right. So basically this is mainly fine tuning for thick or thick fabric. If you're getting slight ridging on your fabric, or you're getting like lettuce edge, loose stitching on the edge, generally it's not a tension problem, it's more of a thickness of your fabric. So what you can do is you can adjust the bite to cut more or less of for thick or thin fabrics, again,
so
to prevent
there's only
that
going to be
looping.
the same amount of
Stitch.
thread that's going around that edge. So
yeah.
it's the same as when I adjust my stitch strength on my machine to account for using Styleville fix
That's
or
it.
something like that. Then I would lengthen my stitch because it's
Yeah.
got to go further through the width of the Styleville.
That's exactly
So
it.
this, if I'm using a thick fabric, I want to shorten the cut so that there's more thread to go
So there's
around.
the looser thread, which will allow for a depth of fabric.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah,
Right.
and then
Right,
for
right,
finer
right.
fabric, if you've then got it short, where it's then maybe too tight, you want to add a bit more thread to allow a slightly looser stitch. Then that's what will prevent a ridging down the edge as well. So that is what basically all of our overlockers have got. This is taking it one step further, and it's what they call a micro finger. So in an overlocker, if I can sort of say that, I don't know how we're going to see this properly. You've basically got your set plate on here like that. So, and you've stitched, say your cutting blade is here. I can move my cutting blade left or right, so it cuts more or less off. But that stitch finger stays the same, so that's going to be the size of the stitch. What I've got on the dial on here, I can alter the stitch finger, so I can actually move the stitch finger. So I'm actually now making the stitch wider to allow them for soft furnishings, heavyweight fabrics.
Okay.
So I've got the width so I can move the blade, but also I've got the micro stitch to move the finger as well. So I've got more alterations, and it doesn't sound a lot, but there is virtually no other domestic overlockers with that on the market, because it is quite a complex thing to put into a machine. So I think that's the sort of the best way I can or the easiest way I can describe it. So a stitch blade adjustment will move the blade left and right. A micro blade or micro stitcher will move a finger left or right, which alters the width of your overlocking rather than the cutting bite of your overlocking.
Got it.
Yeah, I think hopefully that's come across okay. It's the easiest way I can put it over. But that's what you also then get in extra, going into obviously more of the heavy duty, which will allow you to go even heavier than what the 2500 will. But obviously it will give you the option then to go a lot lighter as well, which they will
It's so
all do.
clever.
Now, again, this is the first time I've ever done this, where I can actually sit and explain the difference between the machine.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'm not boring you to death, hopefully, at home. Hopefully, this is coming out with some good information. And certainly, if it's assisting you to choose what overlocker or what sewing machine you sort of might want to know, or if it's just information you're interested in, then brilliant.
The thing is, where else would you go? We'd have to travel to you to find out all of this. And then if you had other people in your shop or anything else like that, you wouldn't... Or, in shows... They're so busy.
We're so busy, that's
don't
right.
get
It's
that time.
rarely something like that can sort of spend that amount of time. We just say it's great, we can just have fun here, we just
Yeah.
keep going, don't we?
Perfect,
So,
perfect.
absolutely
All
brilliant.
the time that you are okay. I'm just going to try and take that light off. I've got a blind on order, but it hasn't run.
Right. So, what I'm going to do then is, since we've got the MO1, since they do thread the same way in the threading system, and I have put the thread mask and everything on the MO1000, let's thread it. Let's do this, how easy it is. So,
How would you like this?
I can probably do it like that sort of angle. If we got...
Helps if I actually switch it so you can see what you're looking at. There you go.
Oh, brilliant. There we go. That's
Do you need
excellent.
to see more or less?
No, that's good for me. Yeah, when I do this bit, that's good, and then we just move up to the higher. Right, where can I plug this into? Because I know we've got sockets
There's a
built
plug
into
in,
the
in
table.
between the two benches down there. There's a plug in between.
Aha, wonderful. Okie dokies. Right, so nice thing as well, you will see daylight lighting on there, which is really nice. And as I mentioned, as soon as I open any of the doors, the machine has a safety feature on it, so it's not going to keep your fingers in there at all. There's lots of sharp moving parts in there, so very important to have that feature on there. So I'm just going to strip all the threads out to start off with. Like so.
So, Gary, I know some people that will just tie the new threads onto the old threads to pull through. Is that an accepted way?
Bit swings and roundabouts on that one. Again, the difference is my first answer to that is never learn a shortcut before you learn how to do it properly.
Okay.
It's because if you've always done a shortcut and then suddenly that shortcut doesn't work, you could be, oh, what do I do now? Where if you're confident with threading an overlocker, you're more confident in using an overlocker, so it will build that up for you as well. But as you say, if you just get used to using an overlocker, whether it's threading, whether it's actually sewing on it, the more you use it, the more comfortable you're going to be on there. And then second of all, when you knot on, literally the words are in what you've said. You've put a knot in your thread. So when you run it through the tensions, that knot can pop out the tensions. It can get caught in a guide, which will then just snap the thread. Going back to my first answer, if you've never threaded it, that's going to be frustrating on that side of it as well. But it is a shortcut, and a lot of people do it, but a lot of people do have problems with it. So, but certainly with an air threading system, I can probably thread this quicker air threading than I would do time I've tied a knot on and then pulled them all through.
That's true, actually.
Yeah.
I bet that's true.
Yeah, how quick it is. So, threading, let's find some threads. Did you say you had some threads you wanted to? Or do I just use...
I had a fluffy nylon to do the over...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on in. Let's... Right. Indeed. And then what threads do we want to go? So, if we take the bluey grey... Like they've got the 3 bluey grey ones.
Those ones.
On that one. Brilliant. Indeed. So, with all the machines, you get what they call the anti-rattlers. So, basically they're anti-rattlers on there. So, when you're using the larger cones, obviously which usually then have the big base, obviously they fit in to stop it from rattling around.
Yeah.
So that is what they are. But obviously they just push on and off. So if I'm using cones then without the larger areas, which has got the small for the spindle, that will just sit on there, so no problem. So I'm just going to pop those on.
So Gary, the reason that everyone can see my hair is because there is a completely selfish reason that I'm asking Gary to do this, because it's my nephew's birthday and I promised that I would, in fact, what I will probably do is just trim this up. I promised that I would overlock the edges onto this. So if I just step across it, I'm just going to trim this up very, very quickly so that Gary can come and overlock. So when we did the show with the fleece blankets the other day, what I did say to you was that there is a way to set up your overlockers so that, sorry about that light, I'm trying to put that right, so that you can have 1, 2, 3 normal threads and then a feature coloured one, and that is the one that wraps around the edge and it gives you that highlighted thing. So if I just grab a cutting mat somewhere, what did I do with it? I put it somewhere safe. Yes, I did. Oh, I put it to keep the... it's one of the things keeping the light out. But the beauty of that is... Let me just trim this up and then I've got it good to go for Gary. And I haven't done this because I knew that Gary was coming in. Gary, I'm just trimming it up nicely.
Oh, I thought I was going to come back. It's all threaded for me.
No,
absolutely
not.
Brilliant.
Sorry, soz and all that. I was just saying we had these blankets. This is for my football.
Very nice.
My football crazy nephew, and I just need to trim it. I mean, I know that you could.
Yeah, because it's that single face fleece, isn't it? Printed fleece. Yeah.
It's
nice.
an eco fleece, so it's not too stretchy, but of course it's a fleece, so there is a bit of stretch in there. So I'm just going to trim up this, unless we just blade it.
Yeah, so I can just cut and blade it there. So again, this is a great thing, obviously showing you the floss thread, which is nice. Again, using the air threading system there works fine. So with that, we can then do a wide 2 thread, which will give you like a blanket stitch each.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I wouldn't do a roll hem or anything on that one.
No.
So I'd just do the wider 2 thread.
Yeah.
Let's set it up for that then.
Yes, please.
That's a good idea.
And selfishly, I've got other blankets to do, so I need to pay attention as to how to do this. Do you want me to draw a curved edge on there, or?
Well, I was going to set it up and let you sew it.
Brilliant. Okay.
Honestly, I just don't want to take responsibility just in case I.
No, that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect.
So, well, no, this is obviously, this is exactly like this, beautiful. It's a single fleece, obviously with the print on there as well. And this shows you the flexibility of the overlocker. That a lot of people use it just for one thing, they just construct it all the time. But no, the roll hem, the 2 thread, the flat lock, certainly using things like the floss threads and that on this type of fabric, it will give you a beautiful finish. So, what I'm going to do is, first of all, it's something, obviously we usually start on the 4 thread, but I'll do it in the reverse way. Let's start at the 2 thread. So
sorry, Gary.
No, this is great. No, because this sometimes this is something I don't get a chance to do, so I run out of time. So this is brilliant because it's something probably at home not seen it had done a great deal at all. So with that, then so inside the front of the flap, so we've got our tools stored, so it's nice and handy. So we've got our tweezers there. So we've got 2 needles and 2 loopers. So sorry at home if I could start from the basics again for some obviously new people to overlock. It's great to know actually what overlockers can do. And it's the loopers, which are these 2 here, which is unique to an overlocker. This is why a sewing machine cannot do what an overlocker does. And it's basically because that piece of metal there and that piece of metal there, that's actually then what is forming the overlock stitch. And you can see your sewing machine's got nothing like that whatsoever on there.
Oh, show us again, Gary, because I've just zoomed in and it's looking good.
So again, looper, and that's the upper and lower looper on there. So what we can do, 9 times out of 10, for anything to do with 3 thread and 4 thread, you are using both loopers, and that'll cover. But what we're going to do is do a cover stitch, or a blanket stitch on the edge. And I'm using a thicker thread, so I don't need the strength because it is just purely an edging stitch. And using the floss thread, it's going to give me the extra coverage anyway, so I don't actually need then the extra looper. So we can take the bulk out of it, so it's a lot more pliable and it moves more that way. So first of all, to start off with, the upper looper I'm going to block off. So this little lever just here, I'm going to move my tweezers. I'm just going to slide that across. You can see that will slide it through and it will just lock into place. That has now basically blocked that looper off. So what I'm going to use is the red looper, and I'm going to use the outside needle. So on there. So first of all, to start the threading process is this lever here. Oh, where are we going? Where are we going?
Absolutely no idea. There we go, Gary.
We don't need to see this. Look, there's a perfect at the top of my head. We do not need to see the top of my head there. Well, thank you for that.
Sorry. I don't know what I pressed.
The machines are far more interesting. Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, he's blinded by the light reflection off the top of it.
I meant to zoom out. Goodness knows how we ended up there.
Right.
Sorry, everybody.
That's all right.
I just wanted to show
There
you
we
the top
go.
of the thing as Gary.
You pointed it and you move, I stop pointing to it. No worries. So, to start the threading, then it's this lever here. So we just lift it up, and as I said, this is the same what I'm going to do now on the 1000, the 2000, 2500 and the 3500, so no difference on this bit. So lever up, then the balance wheel. Again, I am going to emphasise this point because I like doing this, is any sewing machine and overlocker, cover stitch machine as well, only turn the balance wheel in its direction of movement, which is usually always forwards. That will now just lock itself into place. So what it's done is put threading bars across, or tubes across in here. So a couple of questions that, again, is what the customers ask me, so you could be sitting at home thinking, does it do this or does it do that, is how often does it go wrong? What's the reliability like? Well, ours is not a manual pumping system. That system was around 20 odd years ago, and it's now come back again. And basically they got rid of it because things moved on to the electronic air on, and then they brought back the manual pumping systems, or a couple of domestic manufacturers brought that back because it's a cheaper alternative to do it. So, but we don't touch that system. So it's something which was used 20 odd years ago. It's very outdated. It's just, yeah. And it's also, it's because it's got moving parts. There's more to look after. It's rubber parts. There's parts that can perish in there as well. So what we do say is with our machines, within the air threading system, there is no moving parts in there whatsoever. Press the button, it takes air straight from the motor and blows it through. And that's the great thing. And that's to say, 12 years down the line, that system we have not changed whatsoever.
Well, why would you?
Exactly. Even on our machines 3 times the price, it's got the same system because it is that perfect system as you say on there. So, which is great.
This is it. Juki are not faffy.
Well, what we don't is we.
They don't. If it's perfect, they don't go. Oh, I'm going to pretty it up. No. It's doing the job.
It's doing the job.
Perfect.
But also, what we don't do, which is something I am so keen on keeping, and it's something that we do. I don't want to say we don't battle it. Is making machines cheaper. So on the outside, it looks exactly the same, but at the end of the day, they've had this machine out. Our machines over the years have gone up and up in price because that's manufacturing. If a machine comes down in price, there's a reason. Are they using cheaper parts? Have they put the price too expensive in the first place? Things like that.
You're a chocoholic.
Yeah.
Same as me. When they say new special recipe,
yeah.
What do you instantly think?
It's with a special recipe.
Yeah, it's new improved recipe.
New improved recipe. Well, again, for me, the worst thing I find, especially on things like chocolate and that, all they've done is reduce the sugar out of it.
Exactly.
Is because they've made it cheaper because of sugar taxes nowadays, and that is
so
frustrating.
Or the amount of cocoa.
Or the amount of cocoa in
that's
there.
actually gone into it.
Tell you a sidebar. This is something completely through me. It's a complete sidebar for whatsoever. I was the other day, and it was a breakfast bar, and they had the coffee machines in there. And there was a big sign in it. I've never seen it before. Hot chocolate and mocha is no longer illegally allowed to be sold out of this machine. You had to go now up to the counter to get a sachet. Is because of the new sugar taxes and that built in. They have to restrict the amount you can then get out of the machine. Apparently.
What?
I know.
What's gone mad? What's gone mad?
Oh, just mad, absolute mad. Yeah, I've never heard it before, and it was to say when I was up in Harrogate, this hotel, it's just well, you can't have hot chocolate. Oh no, because of this. Yeah, weird, but anyway, yeah. So going back to machines, the reason ours go up in price is because we won't cheapen them off. And there are some manufacturers out there who say you can buy it. They had a machine for so long, it's at a price, and suddenly it's reintroduced at such a lower price. But it feels completely different, and we've had this in many different manufacturers on there, and it feels like you're now getting a bargain because they're saying, "Oh, there's £500 off this machine or whatever," and you're realising, and obviously because I deal with machines and all the different machines from old to new. I could get like a 10-year-old version of that machine and it will run very, very differently to a new version today. I can guarantee you get hold of a 10-year-old Juki, a DX7, it will run exactly the same as a brand new DX7 today. That's why the price has gone up, is because that's manufacturing and it's not that we are using cheaper parts to help keep the price down. We won't do that. No. So, yeah. So, and that's a nice thing again, going through our systems. This is the best system.
It's often that there is comfort in paying more.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that is it.
And we find that it's not just in the sewing trade. You can go out and different manufacturing, and then I suppose the easiest are like a Black & Decker drill, for instance. You can buy a home domestic one, completely different components at 20 quid than what you would buy then a sort of semi-commercial Black & Decker one at maybe £100. Those have got nylon plastic gears in it. Those have got metal gears in it. Yeah. That's got a 12-volt motor in it. That's got a 24-volt. So there's all. It may look like it's exactly the same on the outside, but the interiors. There is a reason generally within retail why the price is different, and I'd like to think not everybody's trying to rip you off on that, because there is obviously cases of that as well. But obviously, say with Juki, we don't put the price up and make it from cheaper components. We put the price up because those components have gone up on that one as well. So right, anyway, digress. Let's get back to threading. So you say we're only going to thread 2 threads. So I'm going to remove first of all the right hand needle. So I'm going to do 3 thread, but I'm going to do what the class is a wide 3 thread on there. So let's just drop the needle out and then poke that in at the back. So just a little sponge just to keep it out of the way. So what we're going to do is we've locked the threading into place. I'm going to take the thread and then just run it through. So at the back of the machine there's a little metal guide. It literally just a click at the back, so you don't really need to see it underneath that. It's straight down through, round, behind. So basically red dot to red dot or pink dot, so it's on there. And then what I do is pour myself a little bit more of a tail. Again with a heavier bulky thread, then picking scissors. Then certainly with it's a floss thread which frays out, you should be able to cut it at an angle so it doesn't then flare out, but a bit of a weight. So what I'm going to do is, I do like my Jesus, is just an extension of the fingers on there. I can then poke that into the first hole. Then I will poke a little bit more in there because say it's quite a weighty thread, but then make sure that doesn't get caught anywhere. So if we watch here, and then what I'm going to do, air on, there you go, instantly that's it threaded, and that's with high bulk thread as well. So again, absolutely no issues using those thicknesses of thread, which I know some of the air threading ones you can't put that through, you do have to then thread it through manually on that, so a lot easier. And then what I'm going to do is then, because we're using the one needle, so I'm taking the outside needle and then we can then run that through, again threading the top underneath the guide down. So we have got built-in needle threaders into the actual overlocker itself, and like all needle threaders they only work with a needle in the highest position. So I'm going to take off the threading device, and then on the side balance wheel we're probably not going to see too well, which actually we can do. Yeah, no, we've got it there. We've got a line and there's a little white box, so as long as that line is in the white box we know the needles are in the highest position, so the needle threaders will then line up correctly. So this time, again, we're threading the needle like we should do on our sewing machine. Always thread it with a presser foot up so the tension discs are open. But other than that, it's colour coded, so we go down, under, over the top. Again, it's all beige. Oh, sorry, I'll start that again.
Slow down, Gary. Yeah. Just spin it around a little bit more towards.
In there, I can do that as well. Yeah, because that's the important, just to go over there. So we've come
into there, but it's just I get your arm a little
bit. So my arm's in the way there. So just over the top, so down. Again, it's the beige colour coding. So left hand tension, left hand guides down to the left hand needle. So just clips into the guide. Then above the needle there is a little pigtail guide. I'll move it down because it just makes it a little bit easier just to see the pigtail guide. But again, remembering to put the needle back up in its highest position for when we use the needle threader. So the needle threader is this lever here. But what changes it from left needle to right needle is literally that switch from there to there. That is the move. That is the movement in there. Yes. So all I'm going to do is take it over then to the left hand side, to the left hand needle, lock down the lever into position. Little hook goes through the eye of the needle, which I hook the thread onto. Lever back up again, and there's my little looper stitch, which we will take that through. So there's my 2 threads. Now say that's literally all I'm going to use there. So I've got the floss thread and then I've got a standard overlock thread. At that point I'm going to put the presser foot down, so I'm adding tension back onto it. Then turning it over by hand, I'm just going to do 3 or 4 stitches because I can then just start the stitches in just to lock them off like so. And then what I can do is then cut those tails, because then I don't have to worry about unpicking them afterwards and getting them out of the way. Again, not all overlockers will allow you to do that. Some of them you do have to chain off first to get to. And then, since you've got the storage, we like to use the storage. So again, we're not going to end up losing our tweezers and that somewhere else. So we've got a lovely panel, but I would always recommend, as we do know from that, always do your test piece first. So I've got a bit of fleece on there. So using a bulkier thread, what generally, if you've not used it before, so you're not used to the settings, always start on number 4. Go to your longest. The stitch length, sorry. On your stitch length, always start on the longest. Because if you start too short, being a bulky thread, and you end up then just locking your stitches up, jamming up, because you've got then too much bulk on there, which then it won't feed through. Obviously then it can be a bit frustrating, you might have to unpick it, etc. that way. If you start on 4, you know it's going to be absolutely fine, and then you can reduce it down as you sew. So as I start sewing, then, oh, okay, what have we got? Oh, I'm out of the guide here.
You need to turn it around so you can
Yeah, sorry, this is why we do the test one first. So let me just turn it around a little bit on there. So let's.
What we got? What's it doing? Tell us, because if this happens to us,
This happens at home, indeed, exactly it. So basically, it's missed some stitches.
Right.
So to me, I haven't got the needle in correctly. So let's just pop the needle in.
Oh, the actual needle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Josh is trying to do something.
Look at your phone.
Look at my phone.
So again, I'm going to show you this now on there. Let's just move that back round to there. So first of all, this was my result I was getting.
Hold it up in front of the machine.
In there. So that was my result.
That's not what we want.
Absolutely dreadful, obviously,
Yeah.
on there.
Yeah.
So straight away, a lot of people will panic seeing that,
Yeah, no, I
thinking,
would.
what is going on here?
Yeah.
Why is it doing what it's doing? So basically, it just proves the importance of a needle on there. And it proves the importance
Of
of
a needle.
It doesn't matter how long you've been sewing, you could still get it wrong. I know, and you
need a
say
needle.
it's great that it happens this way, is because all I did was basically insert the needle correctly,
Oh, look at that.
and it is
Perfect.
obviously absolutely perfect. So some of the most frustrating and looks like it is a complete end of your sewing world because it looks dreadful can be such the simplest of solutions.
And so all you
So-
did was what? Tighten the needle?
So basically just put it slightly, it was fractionally, obviously your needle's not in high enough, it puts the machine out of timing.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, and all I did, I just because I moved one needle, I didn't remove the other. I just thought I thought it was in properly, and
Yeah.
obviously it wasn't. So I just made sure it was in properly, and voila. So you say, it doesn't matter how long we sew for, we can all do things. But the main thing to that is not to panic.
Yeah.
And it's certainly I wouldn't start. And you notice it looks like tension problems and queries. The last thing I would ever do is touch tensions, because 99% of the time it's not the tension which is the problem.
Okay.
It's something else which is causing the problem, i.e.
Okay.
the needle. And to be fair, probably 90% of the time, especially with an overlocker, because it hasn't got a bobbin, so it can't be the wrong bobbin,
Yeah.
that it is then obviously the needle which is at fault. So yeah, and then from there, so literally, let's run that through again.
Comfy for you guys.
And that's it. And there we go.
Oh.
Absolutely
Happy
perfect
days.
finish.
So is it good to do my
So
blanket
now we've looked at that, and if you say, right, are you happy then with that stitch, the
Yeah.
density? Again,
Yeah.
if you want to make it closer with more of a satin stitch, I can
No.
do. On fleece, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it because
No.
you get it too bulky. And then away you go.
Yay,
Yeah.
my turn.
And then while you sew down the edge of that, I will get the cover stitch machine out, and then we
Okay.
can have a thread of the cover stitch
Right.
machine.
So Gary, my next question
Mm.
for anybody that's not done anything with a oh my gosh, floor is lava.
Sorry, I've got machines everywhere.
8 million machines to climb through. Right, can I do corners on an overlocker?
You can do. Some overlockers will allow you better than others.
Okay.
And the reason being is what they call narrow cutting bite. So basically it's how close the needle is to the blade.
Okay.
Ours are what they call narrow cutting bite. So we've set specifically the blade and needle quite close together. So it's a distance in here.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got it too far apart, so when you try and go around a corner, it will skip off the edge of your fabric.
Right.
So, but when your needle and blade are working close together, you can do tighter corners and tighter curves without it skipping off the edge.
Right,
No.
so I'm not doing a curve on this.
Right.
I was just gonna do like a
If you're going to do a straight corner, off and then on.
And then just sew off and then go back on again.
There's lots of different things they say about the pivoting, doing this, doing inside corners, doing outside corners. You speak to any professional, you speak to any commercial garment maker, they will overlock off the edge and back on the edge again. Be a lot quicker, easier and straighter. And away we go. So again, even using the floss thread, I haven't altered the tensions or anything like that. I've changed the stitch length up to number 4 because again, being a bulkier thread. But if you wanted it closer, you can then take it down. So for instance, like something like this one, I wouldn't go any lower than number 3. So if people at home were going to thread it up and their average is 2.5 and started sewing, it would have probably been too close. So that's why I say when using a bulky thread, always start stitch length on number 4 and you work your way backwards from there.
Anybody that watches my shows knows that I can't be bothered to bind stuff.
No.
So I thought about binding this. I did. And then I thought, can I actually be bothered? Yeah. When actually I've got a machine.
But look at the finish this gives you as well.
Yeah,
it really is that professional blanket finish on there. So,
perfect.
And obviously a lot quicker than
Where
binding.
is my line for where this blade is going to go?
So you've got your 2 points on the front of it,
yeah.
is your left and right needle, and your cutting blade point is at the edge of that guide there. So if you're using that as your fabric guide, on the inside there, so
that bit, that little notch.
That's it, literally that notch there.
Okay.
So if you put the fabric, you say, literally to there, then that's when it's going to cut off down that line.
There.
Yeah, that's it.
And I don't want to be pulling this or messing around with it in any way because otherwise I'm putting a tension on it that's just not there.
Well, also you put the stretch into the fabric. When you then let go, it will contract, which then causes it to gather slightly. So you want to let the machine again take it through as under its own sort of guidance, really.
As it is doing.
So you say with an overlocker, the more you use it, and this is where I say don't be scared of an overlocker. And most times when you hear the bad stories of an overlocker, it's because someone has brought a bad overlocker.
Yes.
Generally.
Yes.
Or they've had no help with it. And obviously this is where we come into our own on this one, where a lot of time again with that side of it where you can just pick up the phone, why is it doing this, why is it doing that? They always say there's no such thing as a daft question, but I always say 9 times out of 10 the question you're going to ask me I've probably already heard before. You're not the only one with these queries, so never ever hesitate to ask the question. It really is.
And this is saving me time as well because I haven't had to straighten everything. I know that it's been printed straight, so I'm just following that print line.
Yeah.
Which is just brilliant.
But also things like if you're adding bias bind onto it, you're adding another dimension, you're making it heavier, thicker on the edge there as well. Obviously there's more chance of the bias binding being pulled off because generally it's done with a sewing machine rather than an overlocker, so it's not going to be as strong. So yeah, there's lots of different ways, but
good, Garry.
Just how quick and easy that is. Job done within 5 minutes, where to bind that would take so long.
And also, is this a construction thread? Can I do this to construct or not?
Yeah, a lot of people will use this thread for like lingerie.
Okay.
Anything that's got to go against the skin, because obviously it's pliable. It's very soft. It feels nicer. Yeah, definitely anything sort of internal, anything going against the skin, using a softer thread, which is nice. Definitely, say things like lingerie and things like that. A lot of people do like it, say like an edging stitch because it gives you a nicer coverage that way rather than a tighter roll hem. But there you go. 5 minutes later, completely edged, done.
Done. I'm done. I'm done, and you can't see it because I'm the one that in control of the camera, and I'm stood over here.
And then I'll let you do that, and I can hold it up. So
I've not used that before, and I knew it was something that I could do, but I haven't done it before, so I'm pleased.
So that's sort of the back of it there. I think we can get a slightly closer one on that, just to show, just how neat that is on that edge there.
That's good, isn't it?
So again, against the white, you get that contrast on there. So it's just that beautiful edge. But then if I turn it over, it's professional. It's what it's supposed to be.
Right. What do I do with my edges? My ends.
So different ways of doing it. Some people do then sew it back in on there. If I would personally give it a little stitch in there. You can cut off your loose corners, then literally just that last couple of stitches just to sew it in. If it's an inside garment where you've got it on there, so you're not going to get as much wear and tear on there, then people will just cut it off and leave it. So with an overlock stitch, so it's what they class as a self-locking stitch. So I won't do it on your one. You don't want, I just about screwed it up and just.
You were just going to pop it in back in your.
Yeah, absolutely, I'm taking that with me now. That's going in my den box. That one is. No, I'm not. No. So if I just run, so I won't do it on denim, so you can see what we're doing.
His cushion. So if I want to make him a matching cushion, I could actually overlock to match.
I'd make the cushion.
Perfect.
Yeah, literally you would then just go round, you would either, so if you wanted like fleece on top and then cotton underneath, or fleece either side,
I've got
then
velvet. So I've got velvet for the outside, and then I'm just going to do a cotton backing on the back, a cotton envelope on the back.
On the back, so anything like that would be so easy to do. So.
And then it's going to match, because they're matchy ones.
Yeah.
We had these last week on our show, and
yeah, so. Something like that.
I can get Harry's birthday present done today.
Excellent. There was a reason I'm here.
Thanks, Garry. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Set it up, you can go now.
Yeah.
I should set your overlocker up really, shouldn't I?
Yeah, actually. Here is mine. Yeah.
So basically, yeah, with something like that, I'm not going to change or treat it any differently. So with that, that's well, this is why, again, going back to what the question is, when people say about knotting on, pulling through, and they're really restricting the amount of use, or they're putting themselves off using it properly. So they and it's not. Well, it's one of the things I'm going to say, and it's very controversial when I say it.
Oh, Garry, hang on.
Yeah. An overlocker is easier to use than a sewing machine.
Okay.
Reason being,
Garry.
an overlocker does one thing.
Yeah.
It overlocks.
Yeah.
And you may use the overlocking in different ways, but all it does is overlock. Your sewing machine does many different things.
Let's be controversial.
Yeah.
An overlocker is easier to use with the TR200.
It's easy to use on any sewing machine. I think.
That's a big thing to say.
But the problem is, it's everybody's. If you start sewing your sewing knife on an overlocker instead of a sewing machine, you'd probably think the same. But everybody's just used to sewing machines and just getting on and doing what they need to do. Where with an overlocker, you say, it's all down to, if you've got a good quality overlocker, you've seen how quick, how easy it is to construct, to make garments. You can just do everything on an overlocker. Your sewing machine, you're then changing it for doing different jobs.
Yeah.
So once you've got a good overlocker, you can see for everything we've done, I have not fiddled or adjusted anything.
No, you haven't.
It just does it.
It's just how many threads you decide to
and that's
put
exactly it. So
hang on.
it's not. This is a.
Because this is going to be my cushion cover later. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter that I'm going to have velvet on the top and cotton
So
underneath.
this moleskin. So this is near to velvet I've got. So I have put a moleskin on there. Yeah. So again, this is what I happen to have with a bit of a pile on. So again, no problems there. Obviously, I've got a fleece underneath as well. Perfect edging on there. So yeah, no, something like that, as you could say, it would do it in seconds. Absolutely no problems at all. Completely different contrasting of fabrics. See, sewing that on your sewing machine, that's another thing.
Oh, I'd have to
All the different, exactly it. So all the different fabrics and that on an overlocker, I've just put straight through. On a sewing machine, going from fleece, which is very difficult to sew on a sewing machine, then through to moleskin, something like that. You're using contrast of fabrics. You say a walking foot or something like that, altering your stitch length. But an overlocker just does the job. But you say it's a matter of, this is why play with we've got an overlocker, play with it, have some fun with it, use it. try not to be scared of it, and obviously with ourselves as well, never hesitate to pick up the phone, ask the questions. We can talk you things through things. FaceTime, absolutely no problem at all. So then going back to one of the original questions we were saying about cutting the edges and seal the edges in. So what you can do is with an overlocker, it self locks. So if you basically take your thread, obviously with a sewing machine, you've got reverse back tack on there. So if I do that, if I pull that thread, then I can have it so it pulls it out because it's done with a 2 thread. But if I actually take then the actual thread itself, rather than the overlock thread, not the fluffy nylon. So if I pull that, it's now locked the stitch, and it's just broke the thread. That's how strong it is, because it's a self-contained stitch, I say.
So don't use the.
So not the looper one.
Not the looper one.
It's basically, if I was to do a 3 or 4 thread, it would lock it anyway. But because it's a 2 thread, you've actually got then the stitch underneath. So so make sure you pull your thread and then not the chain. But as you say, with something like that, with a fleece or something you're going to be used and thrown around where you're going to see the stitch, I would personally sew it in because it would be stronger. Right. Because it's on the outside, so you will be using it. Where obviously on a garment on the inside, you're not going to see it. Certainly not going to be touching it as much. Then I would, if you want it a bit stronger, do that. But if you pull the actual cotton thread, not the floss thread, you will feel it just tighten. It will just get tighter and tighter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically pulling that lock into. So, but on the 2 thread, if you've made a mistake, you can then grab the looper thread, and you say if you want to then, well, I grab the opposite thread, even though I'll just tighten this up there. If you watch on that one.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, go on there. Where do you want it?
Yep. So if I just do that. So if you've got the overlock on the edge, if I grab then the right thread, if I want to take it done, there you go. I can then just completely unpick the overlock, so it's now just unravelling on there. But obviously I made it tight because I pulled that one stitch, so I take that out, then that will just unravel.
Can I just knot those 2 together?
Yeah. Again, as long as you've formed a lock, so it's not going to then undo. So yeah, as long as you've sort of knotted it, it's not a problem. But other than that,
lazy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm so lazy.
Yeah. So going back to say what we're saying with an overlocker, when people say, should I have an overlocker? Do I need an overlocker?
Yes.
For that, the answer is always yes. And then more you play with it, the more you're absolutely going to love it. And then I sort of talk to people who have had an overlocker and they've got used to it. They've really just sat and say, right, I am going to use this. When I speak to them again, 9 times out of 10 they're using their sewing machine for doing a buttonhole, putting in a zip. Don't get me wrong, you can put zips in with an overlocker. Again, things like that, where you can end up using it far more than you ever think you would do.
Whoa. Gary, can't keep saying these controversial things. So you can put a zip in but how would you...
So again, it's the way it seals it in. As you say, I'm an engineer, not a sewer. It's something we do teach on one of our classes. And I've got to put my hands up, I've never done one of our classes. But they put zips in with overlockers, full construction, everything with an overlocker. So if you go onto YouTube, insertion of a zip with an overlocker, there are videos on there.
The only thing that I would question is, because I'm now in my head visualising making a bag that way, and I've overlocked zips in for like dog beds and things like that, and that's brilliant. But if I still want that top stitch for the effect,
that's the difference on there. That's right. Yeah.
But actually, if you are, the reason that we top stitch is to hold it away, hold the zip away from the cotton away from the zip.
Right, which the overlocker will do anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it will keep it in line better. Yeah, it'll keep it in line straighter. And especially if you buy the continuous,
Gary,
like
blowing my mind.
You say, like the dog beds and things like that. So at home, if you buy the zip by the metre, on there, but don't use both sides. Literally, overlock it in, because obviously both sides, if you've got them individually or together, they're still male and female technically on that. So then all you need to do is you can actually overlock it, join it together, and then just put the slider on, so it then zips the whole thing together. So instead of using 2 separate zips, just use one zip. Yeah. So yeah, lots of different ways around for doing that, and that's the thing about having confidence with your overlocker. You will just use it far more than you ever think you will do. So, or hopefully you will do anyway. So yeah, so that's what it will do for you.
Garry.
Everybody should have an overlocker. Everybody should have an overlocker.
You know what I now need to do, don't you?
Have more time in the world to play.
Well, I know that. But also, I now need to set up a whole other desk just for my overlocker so that it can be out all the time.
Absolutely, yeah. So the more and more you play with it, the more you can appreciate what it will give for you, how quicker it is, the fabrics, the way it treats the fabrics as well. So much better.
What are you doing to me, Garry?
Hopefully encouraging people to sew more. So that's the key thing on there. So absolutely brilliant.
Amazing.
Right.
Cover stitch.
That's it. We've got our cover stitch left now.
Auntie Lizzie, this is for you.
Well, at least we did a bit of sewing.
I've done.
I think 3 hours in nearly. I think we've done a bit of sewing.
And I've done a blanket.
Hey!
The thing is, Garry, right? When we do these on big national TV channels and stuff like that, all of the sewing demonstrators bring their own different machines.
Yeah.
And so, but you guys know that day in, day out, I walk the walk, I talk the talk. You know I love Juki, and you know that it's my Juki machines that I use all the time. They're the only machines that I use. Occasionally I whip out my grandma's 70-year-old. I've had to realise that it's now 70.
Right.
And when I first started on TV, I was like, oh, you use your grandmother's 60-year-old sewing machine. I'm like, yeah, that was a decade ago. It's 70 years old now.
Well, as I was sort of saying, it's like that similar sort of thing. So how long have you been in the industry? Oh, 25 years. Oh no, I haven't. I've been on TV 12 years now. That's 37 years, isn't it? I try to keep myself youthful. No, I've not been doing it that long. Honest, I haven't.
It's like,
you get to a stage.
70 years earlier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You've just nearly halved.
I've nearly halved what I've done. Absolutely. No, that's brilliant.
Feels like 70. Actually, only 38.
Excellent.
I think the thing that I love about it, Garry, is that, you know, with your wealth of knowledge and experience, you could have worked anywhere, but you've chosen over the years to stay where you have for good reason, because there are not that many family-run businesses like this.
No,
they just aren't, and
the
such
problem,
a lovely family.
And it's becoming less and less. Obviously, within the sewing industry, most of us know each other. We go to meetings, we go to exhibitions, we
go to the pub.
This is it. We all sort of know each other, even for up and down the country. Obviously, dealing with different dealers. Obviously, Juki UK is available across network of dealers across the UK.
Yeah.
On that, so we get to meet, and it's sadly to say, it's. I can easily name a handful of people, dealers who have got. They've been in business for like 30, 40 years in there, but there's no generation to follow it on. The sons, the daughters don't want to come into the business. They're finding their own things to do, and we're hearing that more and more now. And it's a big shame on that, where the industries, independent retailers are not just our industry, are disappearing anyway. And if they make it more and more difficult to run shops, but also to pass your business on to the next generation without taxing you through the teeth and everything else as well, isn't it? So, yeah. But anyway, we won't go into politics, because I'll be changing completely different to what we're doing. We need to get the cover stitch threaded. So, as we take it out the box, basically we have just got 2 assembly parts on there to do.
Garry, I'm giggling because
oh no!
Whilst we've been sat here, I've been messaging my friend who wants one of the machines.
Yeah.
She's at the hairdressers. She's like, I'll just buy it online before I get home, which is fine. However, as I'm saying, I've just had a message from my husband. I'm like, oh no!
Oh no! Which one do we do? That's right. Is it a surprise Christmas present, or is it? So,
has he just found out that I have been sewing machine enabling her again?
Oh, it's excellent. I thought he was just saying, if you message her and say it's sold, but then you're letting the husband know, not a problem, it's the surprise Christmas present then, isn't it?
Do you know what? My dad did that my dad did that with a grandfather clock that my mum saw in an antique shop.
Yeah.
and she absolutely loved it. And he said to her, okay, you can go and go and get it for your birthday or whatever. She went back to the shop and she was distraught because she came out. She'd fallen in love with this grandfather clock. It's like, it's not for sale anymore. Someone's bought it.
Somebody bought it.
And then her actual birthday morning, she realised that naughty cheeky person that bought it was in fact my dad.
Excellent. Oh, that's just
love
lovely.
That grandfather clock. It's
Brilliant.
beautiful, and it's that kind of thing, isn't it? It's that little surprise.
Yeah. It just makes a whole world of difference on there, yeah. Because again, you've built somebody up and you've let someone down. So there's nothing better. It's just like that, and then suddenly the euphoria of, oh yes, it's mine. It's like great.
It was for me. Oh, hang on, we're not keeping that. You undoing it? How am I going to do a cushion?
Well, they say this is my overlocker anyway, or unless we might have sold it already. So this might be somebody else's overlocker. So.
Oh, no. Okay. All right then.
So right, so the cover stitch. So the great thing about a cover stitch, again, it's one of those tools that just does a perfect job on that, which no sewing machine, again, is going to offer you the finish like a cover stitch will. Yes, you could do twin needle on a sewing machine. Yes, you can get sort of a mock effect, but you are going to restrict yourself with your sewing machines, again, your jerseys, your stretch, your fleece.
Hang on. Tell me what a cover stitch does before those, because that's going to be the first question people are going
Indeed,
to say.
so a cover stitch, if you look at your t-shirts or hems, anything like that, where you've got generally 2 or 3 rows of stitching on top, and then I'll show you, it's a white thread, you're not going to see it too well, and then you've got like a full zigzag or overlock stitch underneath.
Yes.
Yeah, so that is a cover stitch, generally used for hems.
Okay.
So it's not for edging. So a lot of people think they will do both. There are combination machines out there. Like any combination machine, it's never going to be the best of both worlds. So it's going to do a job, but having independent machinery will always do a better job than a combination machine. So with a cover stitch as well, where you overlock is say 3 thread, 4 threads, 2 thread, roll hem, different stitches on there, but all based on an overlock. A cover stitch does even less than that, so in a way it's actually even easier to use, because generally you're using it with 2 needles wide, 2 needles narrow, or 3 needles. And with a cover stitch, about the threading side of it, it's not air threading, I'm afraid, on this one, but if you look into the side of the machine, that's the angle there.
Hang on, we need to just move the other one out of the machine because we've got
in there. Let's pop that on.
Sorry,
down
Garry.
there. No, sorry. Get that in the way.
Honestly, you should see the floor in here. Like every available space has got so much.
I've really now. I can move this far now. I've got no space available.
We're keeping him. We've trapped him.
That is it. I'm not going anywhere.
Going nowhere.
Brilliant. So with an overlock, with a cover stitch machine, sorry, you have got 1 looper. So that is in the side here. So it's a manual threading one, but it's very exposed, so it's easy to get to. It's a full diagram and it's colour coded as well. And then 1 looper combined with 2 or 3 needles. So again, giving you those different finishes for the different hems for different types of fabric. So what we're going to do is say, first of all, telescopic arm at the back. If the camera can just go up a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
I was just,
Yeah, so telescopic arm literally just goes up.
Hang on.
Again, it's gone up too far. So just click and click. So we're going up, you see, and then your spider or thread mask on top.
Oh, hang on,
up. There we go. Yeah, so we just put the threads.
I've got to get this right. We've just had a message from Auntie Lizzie, and she said that her late mum is buying this machine for her.
Oh, lovely. That's for memory there as well. And every time you use it, it's that memory is there. Ah, that's beautiful.
So we've got to make sure we do this so Auntie Lizzie knows how to thread her machine.
Yep, absolutely.
Let's hope that it was Auntie Lizzie that bought it earlier, because we only have
I have one of them literally on there. Yeah.
Right.
So again, it comes right. So we can back down again now.
This is for you, Auntie Lizzie.
And then, so on the back we've got our thread stand, so it comes obviously with the cone holders as well.
What would you do with them? Where are they? There we are.
There, so yeah, so your anti-rattlers or cone holders on there, so I'll put them to one side. And then what I'm going to do is then thread it up. They say we can thread it up as a 2 needle, 3 needle, that's up to you. 2 needle wide is one of the most common ones. Again, 3 needle is nice decorative, it looks good on fleece and jersey fabrics that way. Obviously it's a preference, it's up to yourself there. So whether using 2 needle or 3 needle, we are always using the looper. So the looper is going to be the first thing I'm going to thread. So I'm going to turn that there. I don't know how easy we're going to see then into there. Right, brilliant.
Is that all right? Is
so
that good enough?
that's great. You do get all the accessories, so you get your tweezers and your bits and pieces like that, all come as standard. It's not a storage area on that, I'm afraid. It comes in a separate little bag.
Gary, you have opened a can of worms now.
Excellent.
My YouTube questions are going crazy with where do we get these access? Where do we access these classes for overlockers? Natasha, can you bring us these classes for overlockers?
Brilliant.
Would one of your overlocker people can we liaise and see if an overlocker person?
I can't see no reason why not on there. Obviously, we do have our own classes with overlocker people. Obviously, with our instructors as well. So we have the different stalls around. Obviously, they are available for anybody with Juki overlockers, specifically for Juki classes. We also do just overlock classes as well for people who obviously don't have to have a Juki for those days.
Where are they based?
So we have Salisbury.
Yeah.
So down sort of Wiltshire on that, but the base of it then is in we have Ipswich in Suffolk, Colchester in Essex, and Chelmsford in Essex.
And what happens if you live nowhere near any of those?
Then Colchester is the oldest recorded town in England. Fantastic, lovely castle in there to
Gary,
visit.
we're going to need to get one of these instructors up here.
Absolutely, and then so yeah, then we know there are sort of different days around. Obviously, not run by us, but there are overlock days out there. But a lot of people say, surprising how people do travel. And to be fair, Salisbury is probably like one of our busiest because people love Salisbury. Obviously, you've got the cathedral down there. It's a beautiful town.
All right,
city
TripAdvisor.
down there and things like that. No, I've not been down there. I miss going down there, Salisbury.
Gary rates it 5 stars.
It's 5-star, absolutely. So getting threading the overlocker, and you say with the overlocker you have got just the one looper, and that is a cover stitch. Thank you very much. So just make sure you're on your toes still. And then so what we're going to do is thread that first. So it's all colour coded. So this one is the lilac colour. So unusually the threading starts from the back. So I'm going to turn the overlocker around. To the cover stitch around because the first guide is actually there, so it's actually at the back. So the thread comes from the yarn mask, just clicks into the guide. There's a channel here the thread just lies in, so with the door open that literally just lies into that channel. Now I'm going to turn it back round again like so. So you've got the guide just at the back. There you got your tension control, which then just goes round. So like all that, just go around, just make sure.
Oh, hang on, can we spin? Can we do this from the side?
Yeah, which
Round there.
there, yep.
Because otherwise we've got a lovely shot of your arm.
Okay, I don't want that in the way. So again, we've just come. Say we're taking it from the guide there. Then with that, we're taking it round the tension. Give it a little pull. Lilac guide, so it just clicks in. So you've got the top guide in there, and then we've got lilac guide like so. Underneath the guide we're going round a little hook, so again colour coded, so it's nice and simple just to follow round, then through the guide, then it comes back through purple guide or lilac guide again.
You're just following the lilac
Clicks
colour.
in. That's it, literally just follow. So it's just like a zigzag, so it goes down, up, down on that. So there is a diagram, very clear diagram on here as well, which is nice. So from there I am going to move it in around a little bit more because you can then see your looper. So your looper is here, then that little white button there, if I just push that in, that will allow me then to drop that looper down, so it makes it even more accessible like so to get to on there. So if I just clip that back up to start off with, because what I've got to do is a little pigtail guide just there. So first of all I am just going to put the thread into the guide, then it threads through the back of the looper and then through the front of the looper. So those with like a manual threading overlocker, this is where it threads pretty much the same. So I'm going to click it down and then I can put the threads then through the back of the looper, so it just goes through the eye like so. I'll just do it from a... So I'm just going to have to turn it a little bit
You
awkward
turn
angle.
it from wherever you need to.
There.
We've just had a message from Jo as well. She said, "My late mum bought me my Juki."
Ah, lovely.
There's a theme going on here, and what a lovely, lovely thing. Like I say, I until I bought my Juki with you, I had one in between machine which we won't mention, but otherwise, yeah, my grandmother's sewing machine. And I thought, do you know what, Gary? This is the thing, right? Because that machine is 70 years old, but it does a straight stitch, it does a zigzag. That's it. And it's all metal working.
And that's it. It's that perfect again.
And so it's great. The one I thought I was upgrading to never sewed as well.
No, and that is very often the way as well. Sort of appreciating what quality. And you say when we talked.
I didn't know. I thought I was buying this machine with all these different stitches.
And then realising, well, you say with computerisation, especially now on the market, you can go out and buy a machine now for like £400, which will offer you 200 stitches. But as I was saying, it's what it's connected to. It's not the amount of stitches; it's the build of the machine. So obviously, if it is just a shell of a machine and there's no metal chassis in there, it's very lightweight. It's going to bounce. It's going to be noisy. There, if it's got plastic gears connected to a big motor, then obviously the power and the strength is not there, because if you try and put heavyweight fabrics, it will then just split the gearing. So when people look at a new machine, the best bit of advice I can offer them on that way, don't look at stitches, look at the machine, because having a machine that does 200 stitches which you're not going to use, and it's on a plastic base, where you can get a better maybe mechanical machine, which is then going to give you more longevity on the quality.
Yes.
But on the other hand, it may not do as much, but at least what you want it to do is going to do well. That's the good thing about it on there. So absolutely. So from there, you say all I do is then thread it then through the front of the looper, and then that goes then from front to back like so. And then, so that is your looper threaded, and obviously that just pops back up. I just wrap that thread round, make sure I haven't caught it. No, that's all good. And then, so your one looper, then with that tailor thread, all I do is I literally just lay it into the machine. Obviously I don't want to trap it into any covers, but I just keep it out of the way more than anything. So that will just sit in there, and then that is your looper done. And then it's up to you, obviously with your needles. You can use all 3 needles, left and right, so whether you want 2 or 3, that's a personal thing again. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start and do the outside needle, which is the yellow one. So top colour, again, top guide colour coded, so it goes into the yellow there. Around the tension at the front. So with that again, notice presser foot is up, so the tension discs are open. So it goes round, clicks, yellow guide, so again yellow, over the top, yellow. Not a lot of difference from any overlocker, or not a lot of difference really from your sewing machine either. Is take up lever, tensions, needle guide and needle. So very, very simple that way. And then what I'm going to do, before I put the foot down to thread the needle, I am just going to take my second thread and I'm going to bring it down through. This is the blue, so again the top guide blue, into the guide blue, round the tension, through, click on there, and then we're going to follow it across. So we've got blue, 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 and again it's the right hand needle, so right hand guide, and then we can then just thread from front to back. So if we was doing then the third reel, so do you mind if I just go for a different colour? That's there. Oh, that's good. Yep. There we go. Wonderful. Thank you. Yep. So again, the cone. So I'm going to use the cone holder on the back to stop it from rattling around. I.e., what they're also called anti-rattlers. So this time, the green over green, green. To be fair, wouldn't matter what order I threaded this in. I don't know why I specifically done left, right and middle. It really doesn't make no difference at all. Having a different colour in the middle, it will just make the stitching stand out to show you the difference on the third needle. So this time we say the green, round, through, colour coding, just follow the green codes, round, over the middle, through the guide, again centre needle position, then centre guide. So once I've got to that point, that's when I'll put the foot down, so I can add tension onto the thread, so it's not going to allow me just to keep pulling threads at all. And now I will thread all needles front to back, because also at this point I am going to turn it to myself, and then thread all 3 needles. And then this is the testing point. As we say, older we get, learning the needles. Learning how to thread the needles again, after the majority of machines now have built-in needle threaders. So when you've got to manually thread it, I think luckily enough it's not necessarily the the eyes that can see, it's more the muscle memory on where to poke the thread, and it goes through.
Isn't it? Yeah, for sure.
So rather than actually seeing the eye, it's just knowing it's there, and just poking it through. Like so. And then we've got our 3rd needle, and again front to back, like so. And there we have one completely threaded cover stitch machine.
Yay!
On that. So again, only having the one looper, it's not as off-putting as say what an overlocker can be, because you're not looking at all of those. But obviously having just your needles, whether you use 2 needles, 3 needles, it's still very, very simple of what we'd be used to.
Oh,
so
very clever, isn't it?
Like we'd always do, again, get your test piece first.
Yep.
Just to run it. So I'm just going to get a piece of cotton just to run it up on there. So the idea obviously is your hem. So with your fabric is you want the stitching, so you fold your hem up to where you want it on there, and then your rows of stitching will be on top, so you're stitching on top of your fabric, and then your hem is then on the fold underneath. There's different ways of doing that. Some people will try and stitch both the fold and flat, but obviously thinking about that, you've then got different layers of fabric. Obviously with different layer fabrics, if it's thicker on one side it is the other, it's more likely to try and push it off in a direction. Some people will then sew it on both layers, and then obviously the spare fabric you've got you then cut up to your stitch.
Right.
Can be a little bit fiddly. Plique stitches certainly do help for that.
Yeah.
So what has Juki done to solve this?
Has it put a thread cutter in?
Nope, Juki have put what they class as a compensating foot on their cover stitch machine.
Oh, well, that's genius.
Absolutely. And i.e., what's the compensating foot? So, as I said, the fold of the fabric, where you've got double layers, you've got different thicknesses that's going to go over. If you've got a flat foot, as you say, it pressurises both of these sides together, it naturally can't give you the same pressure on both because of the thickness of the fabric. So that's when you end up feeding it, and it's trying to push it off left or right because it's gripping one side better than the other. So with a compensating foot, so we look back at the front of the machine again.
Every husband again.
Yes, is it? I don't know, my director's not doing good today.
Hey, look,
That's me.
I'm so machine enabled while someone's at the hairdresser. Yeah. Just found out. It's all good.
Oh, excellent. That's all right. I don't know if we can get an overhead shot of this just to start off with. I know, just want. Can we get it closer? just while I'm at it.
No. Well,
because these marks are very small on the front of the machine. So what we're looking is here.
Do you not want to have a look there?
Yeah, if I tip, that's it. We tip it like that. So there was marks on the top of the foot here. You're not going to say because it is silver. These are actually my needle alignments. So I've got my perfect.
Oh, hang on.
Way too far. Hold up. Indeed, that's it. Yeah. So you can see now those 3 lines. That's it. That's brilliant.
There you go.
So
we
get there. Absolutely brilliant.
We'll get there.
And then that will give me my left, middle, and right. So it gives me my guide. But the key thing, which I'm pointing out, then, if we look at the foot, it's in 3 different pieces. And the reason being, if I do that and that, as you can see, they're independent. That is now the compensating. So what I can do, even though the fabric underneath might have 2 layers on here and a single layer on here, because of the compensating side, it will pressure both sides together, so it will feed it at an even rate. So that is again what Juki's about. Those little things like that, which makes so much of a difference when you're sewing. So now, not only does it give me the compensating to allow for the different thicknesses, it actually gives me technically a guideline on there as well. So when I feed that under, I can then use the needle guide, but using the compensating as a guide as well.
Spin that around so that
Yeah, I'm just going to line it up first, and then I can spin it around when I start on there. So again, I can see, obviously with that, some people you'd have a mark on the top of your fabric to see where it goes. This actually comes with a folding guide included in the price as well, which is really nice. What? But using the guides on the top and using the compensate, so it will pressure. So as we're stitching, is that all right there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then,
around towards you a bit if you want.
so as I'm stitching now, I'm not going to say, I'm letting the machine do the work. I'm not going to push it through. All I'm doing is holding it on this outside mark just here. So I know that is where the left hand needle is going to be stitching. Again, you can feel, the sound of the machine doesn't vibrate, it doesn't rattle. Full solid chassis inside.
Good.
So when I come to the end of the cover stitch, personally on this one, I just run it off to the ends, then I will then snip those threads out there. So I've just got a tiny little tail. I'm not wasting threads and pulling it that way. I'm literally just snipping it off, and away we go. So when we show you then the cover stitch, so excuse the little hiccup in the middle. Let's have a little look here. As you can see on the fold, it has now encased, so it's basically overlocked the edge of that fold at the same time. So it's done it perfectly, and then with that I've used in the 3 needle, so it's finished it, it's weaved it, and then obviously on top you have then got your 3 rows of stitching.
Can you just put that in front of the machine and we can see that in a real nice close-up?
And then if I do it like that, can we see there? So obviously we've got the yellow line in the middle, and then we've got the 2 blue lines either side as well. So I then turn that over. As you can see, that's giving you virtually an overlock finish, but you can see there's no separate fabric on that side. It's basically fed both the fold and the single layer together because of the compensating foot. Again, it's domestic overlockers generally do not have that feature because it's born from the industrial world, but it's something obviously we very much recognise, and we know that's what is needed.
Well, let's be honest, because Juki are the world leaders in industrial sewing machines.
Absolutely. So certainly on supplying obviously over 40% of the world's manufacturing machines on that side, we are the ones that people go to. But also, it's what people don't recognise. We can build a machine which will do just one job around the world. And it would be specifically either maybe something for a hot air balloon, or something for an intake on an airplane, or something where you have to sew something together. And Juki will go down as far, really specialist. But when it comes to general machines, because we deal so much with individual stuff, we want our general machines to go from here to here, not just do here. Yeah. And that's sort of a big difference on there. And then, so going from like your lightweight cotton, obviously I always just then go to a nice fleece and that as well. All I'm going to do is put the stitch length up on the side of the machine. So like your sewing machine would be, and your overlocker, basically on here. Then, like the ratio, you've got your differential feed at the bottom, you've got your stitch length on top. Going to thicker fabrics, I'm going to just turn it up. So I've gone up to sort of 3.5 onto there. And then I can run that through again. Again, using the guideline on the foot.
This is so clever.
And then...
Oh, Auntie Lizzie, you're going to have so much fun with this.
So again, if we hold that up, obviously on the fleece you're going to see it a little bit better as the way it stands out because of the colour contrast, especially with the yellow one in there. So again, gives you that perfect triple line stitch there. So I turn it over, oops, that's just a loose piece of thread there. As you can see, full elasticity as well within the stitch. No overlap of fabric at all, so nothing to cut off afterwards. Brilliant. So yeah, and that is your cover stitch.
Garry, thank you so much.
Wonderful. No,
I feel like we've had a whistle whistle stop tour
It
of
does,
some amazing
yeah.
machines.
It's, I would say, it's always great fun because I just get to talk about what I love. And obviously sewing is a big part of it, but to me, knowing that when I do come to sew, it's going to do what we say it's going to do on there, and why it will do it as well, and also why other machines won't do it as well. So it's not just a matter of saying mine's better. It's a matter of because everybody can say their machines are better, but it's also giving me a reason why it's better. Why is it better? And you say, the lovely thing about it, I get to play with all makes and models of machines. The length of time I've been in the industry, where you will get professional sewers out there, and I am not a professional sewer by any stretch of the imagination whatsoever. I've made garments, I've made bags and things like that, but I am not a professional sewer. I love the inside of the machine. My construction is taking the machine apart and constructing it and putting it back together again, necessarily, rather than like a quilt or a garment that way. And the great thing about that is, say, over all these years, I've seen different technologies, I've looked at the different qualities, where there's certain products with certain materials used in places they shouldn't be, and materials in the right places. And at the end of the day, you do, on the sewing machine side as well, you really do get what you pay for on there. You can buy a good quality mechanical machine, which will do a handful of stitches and do it really well. You can buy a bad quality cheap computer machine, which will do 101 stitches and do it badly or won't cope with certain fabrics. Or you invest into a mechanical machine with high performance, which is then controlled by an electronic or computer, which will offer you then the flexibility of stitches, the ease of use, then maybe sort of things like the buttonholes, the overlocking, everything like that is upgraded, but then you're going to get the fun where the underbed trimmers, the auto foot lifts and things like that on there as well. So,
last question.
Yep.
Magnetic seam guides.
Yes.
What machines can we use them on, and what machines can we not use them on?
So magnetic seam guides, you can pretty much, unless you have got sensor systems, i.e.
The NXs and the UXs.
The NX and UX, the thing is, they have got bobbin sensors in there.
Yeah,
so I would necessarily, anything with a bobbin sensor, I wouldn't really recommend it.
So if it's going to tell you how much you've got left of your bobbin, steer clear.
Yeah.
But things like the DX, the NX, the DX,
so
and the TL,
there's
nothing underneath, is there?
The TL is perfect, is because it's a full metal body. If you look at the domestic machines, the G series, the DX series, obviously it has a metal construction inside, but it's coated in a plastic frame to make it look nicer, keep it the weight down, etc. That way. So if you look at the needle plate or the places you can connect the magnetic guide to, it's so limited
as to what
you can do. So the G series is an optional extra, but with the DX series you do get that guide which fits into the back of the ankle, which gives you that perfect guide in which you can actually butt right up next to the foot, or have then a greater distance in the needle plate. So it's a bit more flexibility. Also, it's a fixed guide, which I say anything magnetic is not fixed.
Yeah.
It holds it into place, but it's not fixed into place.
Yeah.
If you're using a bulky fabric, or you've knocked it and not realised, and it's just moved it a millimetre or so out, it's going to make a difference.
Yeah.
So I always say swings and roundabouts. I would prefer a fixed guide to a magnetic guide any day.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But answering the question is, unless your machine's got thread sensor systems in the bobbin system, yeah, you can put a magnetic guide onto it. Obviously, the computers in most machines, obviously I know this is a cover stitch, but your computers in most machines are obviously here.
Yeah.
So on our machines, because as I said, ours is a mechanical sewing system, there's not actually computerisation in here, and then till you then go to the sensor system. So yeah, so putting a magnet here, you're not affecting any. It's more sort of the LCD side of it, because obviously being magnetic itself is not so much then on the circuit side of it. So yeah, so
Garry, that is everything. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. As pleasure as usual, absolute pleasure.
The electrician's just come.
Right, we're going to be powered down then, aren't we?
He wants to take the power off. Thank you so much, Garry. You're an absolute superstar.
Well, thank you everybody at home. Hopefully I've given you some knowledge, some information. Obviously any questions or queries, please send them through. I can still answer them on that. And obviously Natasha, thank you. Pleasure, always. Always.
Thank you. You're an absolute superstar. Thank you so much. Guys, just watch this back. We don't delete our videos off YouTube, they will be there. So please do take a look. We'll chomp this down a little bit for the members and put it in our members bit as well. Because it is currently running at 3 hours 49 minutes.
That's how it goes, isn't it? That's brilliant.
So thank you, Garry,
Absolutely
and we
brilliant.
will see you soon.
Indeed, thank you.